Welcome everybody to GGLeagues Semifinals Valorant Division C. We have tonight USU White versus UNL Crimson. I'm here with my co-caster Wumby. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing fine, man. How are you?
Doing pretty good myself. All of our players are getting ready to hop into our first map of the day. We're gonna be on Icebox, or my bad, Bind, which is USU's pick.
hmm Yeah,
Both both teams are gonna be 6-2 as their standings, and we're gonna be starting up pretty soon here.
yeah. Bind. We got an interesting map pool to talk about as well before we go straight into Bind, which all the players are already in the lobby as we speak. So as soon as we get done talking about the maps, we're gonna head straight into the very first map, which is Bind. But partnering with Bind, since this is a best of 5 series, we also have Icebox, Breeze, Ascent, and Split, and this is probably the most unique map pool that I've seen in a best of 5 series, let alone a best of 3, especially when you put Split in there, which is not a common pick inside of comp, especially not in T4. So it's going to be very interesting to see how both of these teams play on it if we do eventually get there. Also, Breeze, not a common map to see inside of T4 comp as well. So that is a map that we will most likely see since it is the third map, or I think it is actually, no, it's not the third map. My fault. Yep, it is the third map, so we will see it regardless of if we eventually get to 5 maps today.
Split going to be very interesting to see if we go the full distance, but the 3 maps that we are definitely going to be seeing this series is going to be Bind, Icebox, and Breeze. We'll see if they go the full distance in this series, but we're going to be loading in fairly shortly here. Both teams, again, even record, so on a pretty even footing right now. Honestly, a 50-50 who's going to take this game. Hopefully we're going to go to the full 5 games. These teams both playing for the final slot in the finals for the GG Valorant C division.
Yeah, both teams have had a pretty decent adventure in their quarterfinals games. Both teams playing against teams that were that had a better record than them. Not only that, but also having a higher stance in the standings as well. So they were, I would say, kind of considered underdogs for their matchups. The teams above them would have loved to take that game full-handedly, as they probably should have, but they're here today facing against each other. So this is a the underdog story as we head into the first map, which is Bind. We've already got the agent select over and done with, and the first thing that I'm seeing that's very interesting, as we're having a little bit of trouble getting into this game, at least for the side of UNL Crimson. I see a double sentinel, and also the most interesting of them all, probably the most exciting for me actually, is the Yoru pick coming in from Nebraska.
Yeah, Yoru going to be pretty interesting to see Nebraska play. Did get changes not too long ago, got his little bit of a rework. Seeing how that can change things up can be very problematic on Bind, especially because the clone makes a real TP noise, which an attempt to fake out the players over here. But we're gonna see pistol rounds starting up really soon here, and we're gonna get right into things. Yoru also starting off with the shorty and the light shield's gonna try and make a play, assuming with his teleport.
There.
Forever! Shapes out. Yoru is really good on the attack, but I don't know how he'll fare on the defense. He does have those flashes as the teleports, and there he goes with the shorty and getting the first kill of this game, but it's quickly traded out for an aftershock kill coming in from Helmi. But at the moment, even man count between the both teams, see Val Crimson already in the second right down by
Spike planted.
Paul. There goes a swing from Halliday, but he gets punished by Nebraska, and Crimson have the minute advantage here.
Yeah, Spike down now along with that stage wall, really problematic. Just White gotta try and push through that if they want to get it. Again, Nebraska with the shorty.
Satisfied.
Nice shot. Gets traded out there by the bridge. Versus 2 Cypher, about half HP. Breach again going crazy, gets another one. 67 HP, 2 versus 2 now. Smokes down. Damn. Clear versus
one enemy remaining. Last player standing.
Just Jade, 1v1. Not out of HP. Oh! Right click will do it. Unfortunately, not gonna get it.
Shut up and let me work.
Spike's gonna go off. Pistol round.
Good round for Valkyrie to pick up. The pistol round is always the most important round. Not only does it set the tone of the game and the momentum for the rest of the match, or at least for the first few rounds, I believe, because Not only that, but also because of the fact that it does give you a econ advantage, and you get to buy some SMGs, like what Crimson are doing here. You see SMGs, also a Vandal for the side of Shadow, since they have enough creds to buy that, but they also have a Marshall on Primodoro. Marshall is not the strongest sniper in the game. Obviously, that's in the hands of the operator, but it is a very accurate gun. It's a much better gun to move around with, to be more mobile with. As you see, again, Crimson setting up for this A site attack, the Viper wall, and then the toxic hit is going to slow down their push. But it is again Nebraska, the first one entering into sight, but he's damaged by that toxic wall. He's going to hit right back into that.
On the side, not able to get one.
Spike down A.
It's going to go trade. Nebraska finds one fake teleport as well to try and throw off everyone, but
Spike planted.
Spike's going to be planted here for showers. Cody, just a flash. Gonna try and find it, but Nebraska shuts them down. Love it. Gonna find the trade, and the Marshall's coming out. Shadow finds that. It's all gonna be down to the Cypher. 1 versus 3. Spike planted as well. Sam getting some nice shots. Hitting a couple of headshots. A few members here. Comes in very low, and Killjoy going for the flank. Shuts that down real quick. It's Jade with the final one, and very low HP for a lot of UNL Val, but they are able to pick up the round with only 2 members lost.
Again, a good start for UNL Val Crimson, because again they have that econ advantage, especially after winning 2 rounds. But USU White, you can see they have enough creds to full buy. Actually, not really, because Waffle is going to be stuck on he's going to be stuck on the Ares instead of the Classic, as I would have thought. But they do have enough creds to full buy. So when you look at the guns on USU White versus Crimson, they have the gun advantage. But what I like from UNL Val is not really from their gun diff, is with how they're using this utility, especially Nebraska on this Euro, using his not only his clone but also his teleports in that very first round, and then his flashes in both of these in these last 2 rounds in which they've won, have been very, very effective in clearing out corners in which these defenders have been sitting in, and also just clearing out the site just in general, because once you're flashed, you can't see anything, and so you want to get out of there before you're dead, and you surrender that even man count to that team. But the first kill actually goes in USU White's favor, but it's quickly traded out by Jade. This hasn't happened before for USU White, where they've gotten the first kill in their favor, and with that man advantage, it's quickly stripped away for UNL Val. But Waffle is there to get not only 1, not sorry, even 2, because Primodoro is there instead with the Phantom kill onto him at the moment. And Val Crimson not only with sight control, but not even a mid advantage, as again it's trades left, right, and center between both of these teams.
Yeah, now it's gonna be a 2 versus 2 here. 1 HP on Primordial. Jimbo not having that heal available means he's stuck in that position. Both members here walled off. They're gonna be able to break that.
Player standing.
Finds a kill on 1 HP though. Stim Beacon comes out to try and get him out of there. Movement speed is able to, and Jimbo's got his back. Finds that last frag. Bonus round goes over to UNL Crimson. Big round to pick up.
Very big round, 3 rounds in a row as well, so that does a lot of wonders for their economy, as in for USU White. They still have some creds after losing those last few rounds, but this round they're going to be forced on a force buy. You see stingers, you see 2 sheriffs, a stinger, and a bucky. For them, that's most definitely a save, or not even like really a full save, but kind of like a half buy because of those 2 SMGs and then also a bucky. But again, mainly a save for them, as they don't have enough creds to full buy like Crimson Val. So Crimson do have the main advantage. Here comes, I believe this is the ultimate of Nebraska, already making his way into lamps, but he gets quickly punished by Waffle.
Waffle with the stinger finds Nebraska trying to lurk around with the dimensional drift. Primordial finds the trade though onto the Viper. Shadow through the wall finds Waffle, means that's going to be 2 down, but
down A.
With the Bucky not able to find another one. Cody with a nice sheriff shot though. Makes it a 2 versus 2. Brimstone has the ultimate available to try and stall this out. 2 versus 1. And they spot him out, and he gets a nice spray down with that Phantom to clean up the round. A little closer than UNL Val Crimson would have liked, but in the end they are able to pick up the round.
A good round to claim, as they actually, sorry for Crimson, that is a good round to claim, because again it puts them it makes their pockets run deeper as these rounds keep on going, and as the econ tends to drift from one side to the other. And at the moment, it's not even close to even because Val Crimson have been really dominant on their attacks. The first round was a lot closer than the last 3 rounds have been, and so we see Crimson not only in the lead in terms of their round count, but also in the lead in terms of their economy, and it's showing not only on the scoreboard, but also in the amount of credits that they do have in total.
Yeah, we saw the early stat from USU White expecting the rush on the A again, but fortunately not hitting. And the line as well with the clone, but Val playing a little bit slowly. Waffle finds nothing as Shadow picks up that. Nebraska already on the side, finds one, looking for more. Sims gets a trade. Jumbo finds the trade under that though. And already at 2 versus 4 res available as well. Val Crimson needs to use it. But this round already looking very much Crimson-sided. But we see the aftershock come through. Finds the trade on this Maru Suit. Trying to find more to spray through the wall, not able to find the
Last player standing.
This Jade picks up the last one. We see the Viper Spin come out, but spray through the smoke. Jimbo finds that, shuts that down real quick, and that's gonna be 5-0 for UNL Crimson.
Very unforgiving on their attacks. A lot of the little mistakes that USU White are making are just being immediately punished from Val Crimson, and it's little mistakes that even me and you probably won't notice. It's just like little missteps here and there, but overall it's just Val Crimson again in the lead, dominating on their attacks, using the util that they have to their advantage. The Yoru flashes are coming out, his clone is being used to grab intel and also flash people when it gets shot, and it's again, they're not on the lead in terms, not only in the lead in terms of their round count, but also in the lead in terms of their econ, and it's showing in the way that they're playing in these rounds, this amount of utility that they have compared to USU White. And USU White have a good comp. These paint shells gonna come through, slow orbs, toxic screen coming up from the side of USU White as they look to slow down this attack again, but it's UNL Val being very consistent. There goes Cody Ludo for USU White to get the first pick of the game, and Nebraska there with the trade, but he gets quickly picked off by Cody Lu. There goes the nano from the force Waffle out of his position, actually forced him deeper, and he uses the corner. Oh, a double judge kill, or actually a double kill for the side of White, and it's
gun here.
Kilky turns green for the side of USU White as they claim their very first offensive round, doing enough to stave off this Crimson attack.
Yeah, Limmy there in a good position with that judge, is able to find some big frags. We saw Shadow as well pop that null command. It doesn't create enough space. No one's able to follow up and get onto site, which means the rotates come through for USU White. They're all there to stop that push, and the short-range weapons are just a little bit more effective, especially when the judge is such a fair and balanced weapon. I know a lot of people are very much against that weapon, but it does work against UNL Crimson that round, and the KO knife not able to spot anyone in the hookah. There's that angle out, but full rotates as well coming in by USU White for this hit.
The tripwire for Sam giving away the position of the Euro, but that was just the clone, I believe, because it stopped right into the middle of the site, so that's how you know it's a clone. He gets shot out, so I'm pretty sure it's last play that it did shoot out. Halliday gets the first pick into this game, that shows not claiming anyone. The kill feed again turns green for USU White as they handed the first man advantage that they've had in a while in these last few rounds, these last 2 rounds being dominated by them on the defense this time around, and it's UNL Val Crimson not responding whatsoever. You know, repeating what we saw from USU White in those very first few rounds that UNL Val Crimson were able to dominate in, and this time around it's 2 rounds in a row for USU White, and they're in a good place in terms of eco.
Yeah, UNL Crimson walking into the 5 stack there. They make a little bit of noise. The rotates come in from USU White, and they don't call off. They're stalled long enough for the full rotates to come in, and then just walk into the 5-man firing squad. Not enough utility to push them all off those angles as well means that USU White just kind of spray them down as they're trying to get onto site through hookah and too long. But next round, we're going to see a 5-man over towards A. Cypher, only one on B, locking that down. And 4 members of USU White over towards A, and they're running into the firing squad. When he finds 2, Oliver finds 1, Cody finds another one. All down to Soup. You see the molly come out as well, and that's gonna actually find the frag as well. These 5-man pushers not working out like UNL Val Crimson are hoping for. They're just walking into the 5-man, 4-man stacks these last couple of rounds and are just getting sprayed down through these smokes.
Yeah, they working 5 rounds in a row that they were able to pick off from USU White, but USU White have adjusted very well in these last 3 rounds, and they're able to not only slow them down, but get the picks that they need. And for Val Crimson, they need to find a way to do like maybe a split take, maybe have somebody lurking through the A site or lurking through mid, just to watch out for any rotations USU White might make if the rotation does come in onto the B or A sites, if that's where the majority of numbers are for Val Crimson. But at the moment, yes, exactly what you see, the Yoru grabbing some information onto this A site, so they know that there's people onto this A site, but do they know that there's only one player on the B? It looks like that's exactly where this rotation is coming, not rotation, but this movement from UNL Val Crimson is coming into. There goes the suppression knife to grab that intel. It's a couple missed shot actually from Jimbo, who should have gotten that kill, but he doesn't. 2 kills going USU White way. There goes a 3rd for USU White as Sam grabs Jade, and it's now a 4v2 man advantage for USU White. They tried something a bit different and it didn't work out, but that doesn't mean they can't try it again. But Sam is able to shut down Shadow. There's now Nebraska using his dimensional drift in order to rotate out of there, using the turret to go all the way to the A site where there isn't any man there. Then he rotates back into Fountain. He actually teleports there. So I was very confused by that, but it's USU White with 4 rounds in a row now on the defense. Well, UNL Val Crimson are still in the lead at the moment, but it is USU Whites with 4 rounds in a row, so momentum is clearly in their favor as well as eco advantage. So, I mean, both teams are able to full buy as well, so both teams even in terms of gun diff and gun advantage or whatever the case may be. But it looks like Val Crimson are setting themselves up for an A attack, especially with the way that the Brimstone is handling his smokes, unless they want to make a late rotate to B anytime soon.
Yeah, we'll have to see, but 4 ultimates available for UNL Crimson. They have a lot to play with. The rotate as well coming back. It's Jade trying to draw a little bit of attention, but as again we see null command being used, they gotta try and force something onto the site before the rotate's coming in. Already 4 members for USU White are here, are watching for this. Waffle holding down U-Haul, but Soup's gonna find that the wall comes out as well, and they're gonna be able to get this plant down. No way to stop it, no way to stall.
Spike planted.
Cody Rue finds the Nebraska throw. A wall. And the mollies as well. 4 versus 4. Lots of ultimate stuff for Crimson if they want to try and use them this round. Jimbo in the smoke waiting for someone. It's gonna find them. Sam walks into the crosshair, and Alabama is looking for 2. He's only able to find 1. Primordial gets the trade. It's Jade finds 1, and it's just up to Cody here. Needs to go big, looking for 3. Clock is ticking. Finds 1. Looks for more. 11 HP. Ticking. Doesn't find the spray down, and it's not enough time. He's got to get out of there. He's going to try and TP away. No one there. And the Cody Rue boy drives this round.
It's a good little rotate coming in from Cody Ruboy, as he wanted to save his gun there. He didn't want to give himself up too easily, not to the spike or not even to those last 2 Crimson players. A good post plant situation played perfectly well by Val Crimson as well, just to waste as much time as possible. They didn't over peek. They didn't do any of the sort to give Cody the picks that he needed. They were set up perfectly fine for that spike to just blow up at a certain amount of time, and that's exactly what it did. Cody Rue just didn't have enough time to get onto the spike, and that's why, because they did a good amount of time wasting. There goes the fault line ability in order to stun those players pushing through a short, but nobody's pushing there, so they can't grab anybody. There goes the flash from Yoru, though, from Nebraska, and that's what I've been talking about for this whole entire game, is how effective those flashes have been for Crimson in order to push into the site. But they're not pushing into the A site. No, they're going to rotate towards this B site, and I wonder if maybe the Sage is going to rotate through Fountain, put an ice wall up exactly where Sam is looking at from, I believe that is not even the screens, that's elbow inside of the B site. but they're not making up their minds quite yet as to where they want to push. Again, they're rotating this time into A. They're going to have Jay lurk near that Gardens area, but the first kill goes into USU's White favor, and this Viper's hit is going to make it much harder to push into that A site. Sam able to get another for USU White.
Yeah, we're seeing the uplink as well. They find all 3 members, and the rotates are coming through. They got nowhere to go. Rue turned off just a little bit, but Rolling Thunder are available for Limmy means that they can take the site real quick, stall for a long time. And there it is. It's gonna stop Spike Plant. Everyone's knocked up, everyone's stunned and concussed. They gotta try and find these frags, but it's gonna be a 1-for-1 trade so far. Sim gets traded out, but Waffle's gonna find that last member, picks up the 5th round for USU White, hoping to tie things up 6-6 at the end of the first half.
Last round in the half.
I like the way that USU White shut down not only the rotations that Val Crimson wanted to make, especially with Jay trying to lurk over by the B site, but also the way they just shut down the A push entirely, especially not only with the kills that we saw from Waffle, but also the Viper's Pit in order to just slow down that push and make Val Crimson very scared to push into the Viper's Pit. The Viper's Pit is a very, very scary place to push into, no matter what rank or how much you play this game. It's a very, very scary place to push into, and it's very, very hard to get it taken down, especially if you don't find the Viper within like the first 10-15 seconds. It's crazy difficult to get that Viper's Pit down depending on how the Viper's holding it. But look at this, just a bunch up from the side of Val Crimson. They're gonna be pushing near this Gardens area. The information is there onto the Euro's position as he makes his way into sight. Actually, that's the clone. The first kill this time going into Nebraska's way, as Cody Rue was fooled by that ping coming in onto that clone, like I said. And again, that ice wall being so crucial in locking down that elbow position so that rotate can't be made from USU White. Val Crimson grabbing another kill, making it a 5v2. There goes the smoke. The flash is coming out. Waffle getting a kill, quickly traded out by Nebraska, and Val Crimson are in the lead yet again in terms of man advantage on their attack, as this spike is still ticking down for USU White.
Yeah, there's the old little lasers well to try and stall this plant out. Molly's on the bomb as well. Lemmy needs to go big here. He's looking for one, finds Jade. Breakthrough as well with the smoke. Nebraska doesn't find anything, gets tagged up quite a bit.
One enemy remaining.
Soup behind the smoke through the shot.
Standing.
Finds it, and the time is not there. Soup finds the last frag, and that's going to put it 7-5 for UNL Crimson.
Switching sides.
That is a bit unfortunate as well, because he died to his own spike. Not only did he die, but he loses that gun. But I mean, it's the round switch, so we're gonna go and see USU White on the attack this time, Crimson on the defense. And with the way that Val Crimson's lineup is set up, with the way that their comp is, especially with Yoru tends to be lean more towards the attacker side rather than the defense. I mean, his flashes could help in slowing down an attack, but he's more geared towards the attack rather than defense. They do have this double sentinel with the Sage with her ice walls that cancel down the attack, and also the nano swarms from KJ as well. And then you also have Brim and the flashes from KO, which can do a lot of work with defense as well, as with that special knife, grabbing so much intel on where these pushes could come from. But it'll be interesting to see how Val Crimson do on their defense, and also White on their attack with his Cypher and thing.
And the Boombot here are going to try and clear out a little bit of hookah, but doesn't actually spot out the killjoy. It's Jade. As the molly's available, Nebraska pops through the teleporter, finds one, and it's Jade finds Cody as well. Nebraska gets the teleport out as well, gets the kill, and USU White get one in return, and the smokes come out as well. But there should be spike plant for USU White. Sam looking to go big here, looking for one, finds one, let's go big, looking for two. Trade there for Beth, but Jimbo finds Sam. And Jimbo's gonna find one more as well, and that's gonna be the defuse going over to Jade. UNL Crimson pick up another pistol round here.
And I want to give although Nebraska did die towards the end of that round, I do want to give my hats off to him, because I haven't seen Yoru played at all inside of comp, and this is the first time I've seen it. At least after his rework has been established inside of the recent, not so recent patch notes. He's using his I complimented him on the splashes a lot, but the way he got that kill and then proceeded to teleport towards his stage where those hills were was absolutely amazing to watch as well from him. As for USU White, there wasn't a lot of negatives that I've seen from that attack. They just got picked off maybe way too easily. And so maybe that should happen in this round. I mean, that's easier said than done. There goes Nebraska almost getting picked off himself too easily. It's a one-for-one trade, though, between both VAL Crimson and USU White, as Cody Rue ends up getting that trade. And he also is going to take an orb for his also crucial orbital strike. Both of these players are bunched up next to each other. What the hell was that? Nebraska is there to capitalize on it as well, getting the double. And it's USU White Sam in a 1v4 situation.
Oh, don't do it. Oh, he's going for the knife, Sam. Unfortunate. Jade went for the knife kill. Tried to be a little cheeky, but
Portal closed.
Sam finds that one. Spotted. I think he saw the gun barrel. He knows. Sam good for 2 and has spike now. This is very winnable here if Sam plays this well. Dodges out. Molly comes through, so 40 seconds means that Sam has plenty of time if they want to rotate around. But he might be rotating right in the crosshair of Shadow.
30 seconds left.
He's not careful. Shadow with an easy martial shot secures the round here for UNL Crimson.
Yeah, Sam was already very low in HP, and I know with the martial it tends to be a little bit weaker than its cousin, the operator, or his big brother. As a lot of people might know it, a lot of people might not. I call it the big brother because it's kind of like that. It hits harder, but the martial tends to be that little pea shoulder. But even then, Sam was very low in HP. And by the end of that, VAL Crimson kind of got their act together. They weren't really giving one-for-one picks. Instead, they were holding like not really cross angles, but they were I would say really nice cross angles or angles together. At least the last 2 players for VAL Crimson in that defensive round. But the focus for USC White seems to be towards this A site yet again. The A short push coming in from the Brimstone.
Oh, but Cody needs to be careful. Checks the corner.
Cody is there to check that corner as well. Nebraska is down and out for the count, so he doesn't have those flashes to be as effective as he once was in the very first 2 attacking rounds or defending rounds.
Oh, and Jimbo runs right into the crosshair of Waffle. Means that now it's gonna be an early 3 versus 5 here in favor of USU White. Spike going down. Nowhere for Soup to really stop it.
Last player standing.
Waffle finds him looking the wrong way. And Jade runs right into the crosshair of Sam in a flawless round here for USU White.
I like good awareness though from not only like Cody but also the whole of the USU White rosters. Not really in terms of like where they knew where these UNL VAL Crimson players were playing, but also in a way that they just kind of reacted in the gunfights that they were presented in. Cody grabbing that first kill onto the player in A Cubby, and it opened up that A short area a bunch. And also he took off a crucial agent in Yoru, Nebraska, being an absolute menace again with these flashes and these teleports. He gets 1 kill and then he teleports away, and then he's flashing 2 people at once. Oh, again he's flashing 1 player, Cody Rue, getting glitched up, and again not really again, but the first pick not going in any team's favor.
Oh, but Sam doesn't actually see Jimbo in the corner there with this Bucky.
Cypher removes.
And that's going to be an easy shot. Someone not looking you. Waffle trying to find Nebraska.
I'll handle this.
Fortunately, Nebraska a little quicker with the trigger. And now, UNL Crimson, big advantage here. Nebraska gets the scouting information here.
Cutting through.
With your ultimate. Throws the teleport, goes through it as well. Gonna try and cut off these 2 members. It's Jade, nice push down here. Holds market for anything. And USU White is really kind of stuck in a hard position here. It's so many areas that they have to check. But they're starting checking these areas pretty well. Lemmy finds Nebraska.
Smoke's down.
2 members here over on the A site. Slows and Molly coming out as well.
30 seconds
But
left.
it's Jade is back here.
1 enemy remaining.
And hits the nice headshot there on the Cody Rue boy. Looking for 1 more. Lemmy. Better with the shot. 15 seconds. Well, Lemmy's gotta send this if he needs to win this round. Nice headshot through the wall, but
10 seconds left.
50 HP and a lot of guns. Looking at his angle means he's gonna have to be saving this rifle into the next round.
Yeah, time is going to be ticking down for this side of USU White, the lone player of the breach. I almost called him Brimstone for some reason. They both look alike to me, but the breach of Mohalimi. As it's a 10th round this time for Val Crimson. Both of these teams, I mean, the score line may not look like it's that close. It's only 10-6, 4 rounds for USU White to claim in order to tie it up with them. But it's been a very even matchup between both teams. Both teams having like really good individual plays along with good team plays as well. For the side of USU White, it is Mohalimi with 17 and 9 kills. You would expect that to be on your Raise Your Duelist, but I mean, UNL Val Crimson, it's kind of more even on the scoreboard. But for USU White, again, it is Mohalimi leading the charge with this initiator pick of the breach. And I've seen some really good lineups that he's had with the fault line and also the flash point, as well as it looks like he might line it up towards where this KO is placed. The toxic screen actually being lined up to cut off that line of sight for the KO if this rush comes in from Gardens. Also grabbing that orb for that all-important Viper's Pit as well. But at the moment, neither one of these teams are coming to blow quite yet.
Big ultimates available here for USU White. They've got the Viper's Pit, but unfortunately everyone gets turned off here by the suppression, and Shadow's going to be able to find Lemmy. A nice pick up there, and they're forced to back off. No spike in the hand. Two members trying to work over towards A. They've drawn the whole team of UNL Crimson over. TP comes over by Nebraska though. He's trying to watch this, and Sam almost finds him lurking. Trying to find one, but Sam is better for it. 30 HP now. Left. Sight is down, sight is theirs, and the Viper's Pit should be coming out as well to make this even harder for USU White to lose this round. And UNL Crimson, tough position, have to go through this Viper's Pit if they want to try and win it. No ultimates available, but a lot of utility used to try and stall that first push.
Ooh,
and the two members walk right by each other. They don't know. He turns around and finds Sam. Jade finds his. Cody finds two. Cody with the ultimate as well is going to drop it to try and stall a little bit. This is good for one, but Primordial Soup finds the Brimstone. The ultimate burned as well, but plenty of time for this defuse means UNL Val Crimson is able to go to 11 here versus USU White in map number 1.
Yeah, if I can have a look-see between both of these teams, I actually click on the wrong thing. 1 second, and I'll pull it up for you, ladies and gents. This is actually USU's map pick, so UNL Val Crimson are taking lead on their own opponent's map pick, and they're playing, both teams again, they're playing very well, despite Val Crimson being in such a good lead at the moment. This has been a very close game. Cody, Ruboy, and Mohalimi leading the charge. I mentioned Mohalimi leading the charge for his team, but it has been him and Cody, and I believe the Viper for the side of USU White who have been leading the charge for their team in terms of kills. But we need to translate that into wins, and maybe if we saw more from Waffle, this could be a better match for USU White. But at the moment, again, like I said, it's very close. Can't show comes out of that raise play that I did mention, and also the molly to slow down that Bathroom's push. But at the moment, slow attack for USU White. They're just shooting through their own smokes, the brim.
Thanks.
Not really finding anyone quite yet, and at the moment we're stuck at a standstill.
UNL Val Crimson, 4 ultimates available, very big ultimates that they can use. Only 2 for USU White, but also very important ultimates here. Cody is good for 1, but the trade comes out from Jimbo and the Waffle. I mean, it's a 1-for-1. Spike should be going down here in just a bit. Jimbo trying to find something. Soup is concussed up. Has that res available if they need it. And the suppression as well. No command from KO to try and stall things out a little bit. Try and make the space, and along with the Killjoy, Shadow finds Cody with the molly. And this Killjoy ultimate making it really hard. Remember's got to get off of sight. Lemmy finds one. Shadow is going to get detained, is going to get stopped. Jade finds that, puts them onto map point for game number 1.
I want to compliment the positioning there from USU White in their post plant. It was just ultimately that lockdown
Match
from
point.
from the KJ of Jade that made holding on to those post plant positionings near impossible, because once you're detained, not only can you not use your own abilities, but you can't use any guns. You can't use anything. You're detained. That means that you're left stuck there, and he couldn't really do much from that position. Mohilimi was in such a good position. One of the Val Crimson players walked right past him, and they didn't know that he was right behind him, and he got a kill from it. But again, that lockdown being very, very crucial for that retake to work out for Val Crimson. They don't have any ultimate speeds in this round, but for USU White, they do have guns this time around. It's Waffle to grab the first pick this round, and he also has the Showstopper ability available as well, so he could actually clear out so many positions with it and also claim some kills for himself if he's able to push into the side area. But it looks like they want to have him more on a lurk roam. He is going to remove a turret as well as going to shut out towards the halls area. Mohilimi, again, a player that I've talked about so many times throughout these last few rounds, carrying his team USU White, gets a kill on to this A short area, and it clears up this A site so well for USU White. They have the toxic screen up to block any vision from maybe bathrooms and also heaven inside of the A site. That's where Primodoro Soap is on the brim. And at the moment, again, a nice little post plant set up from USU White.
A nice post plant, but we're gonna see how Crimson decide to hit this. It's a 3 versus 5, 2 ultimates available for USU White. They've got to be very close, very careful. Showstopper, but there's gonna be the first one. Sam finds the trade out to Jade. Shadow with a nice headshot. Cody Boy's able to get that trade out too. Showstopper comes out as well, goes a little bit wide. Waffle finds that last, even if it's not with the Showstopper, and puts USU White at 7. But some ultimates use that round, so they're not going to be available for these upcoming rounds.
Both teams, in terms of how many ults they do have, 2 for the side of USU White, 1 for the Breach and 1 for the Cypher, Neural Theft, and Rolling Thunder abilities, respectfully. And then for the side of Val Crimson, they do have that Resurrection available for the Sage. But, you know, Cody Ruboy is actually very, very close to his own ultimate, which is a very cool ultimate called the Orbital Strike, which is very, very crucial in clearing out sight, especially when you are on the attack, or whenever you're on the attack and you have those positioning. Again, it's Sam pushing into the same position. This happened a few rounds ago where Vajimbo was in that same position. This time, Sam is able to look exactly where he's at in that same corner, and he's not able to get the kill. He rushes right into the Bucky for some odd reason, and Vajimbo gets up the gun from it, and it's Val Crimson with the early man advantage.
Yeah, early man advantage, but we've got to be careful here on this B site. Breach ready to pop. Go in with that Rolling Thunder, but Nebraska on such an early flank has the shorty, can go big if they try and rotate off and they think that someone might be here.
Back off.
But they don't clear the corner. Nebraska goes for the rifle, but fortunately not able to find it.
Spike down B.
There's that orbital strike that we were talking about, able to find Jimbo, and all down to Limmy. Rolling Thunder comes out, 1 versus 3, needs to get all of these if he wants to keep his team alive for another round. Gonna get sprayed down, but looking the wrong way. Soup finds that last frag. You and Val Crimson find map number 1, Bind.
Good match between both of these teams. Like I said so many times throughout that matchup, was very, very even for the most part of it. And it's going to be a shame that USU White did lose their own map pick. But for map 2, we're actually going to head straight into Icebox. But before we go into Icebox, which is UNL Crimson's pick, we are going to head into a short 5-minute break. So after this 5-minute break, after you get some little Gatorade, some water, whatever you drink, and maybe some Cheez-Its or whatever, we'll still be here waiting for you.
Just make me believe in love when you're gone. Forever after. Just make me believe that we find someone here in the afterglow. Open your heart, open your mind tonight. Not even a storm can tame this heart on fire. Just make me believe in love when you're gone. Forever after. Just make me believe that we find someone here in the afterglow. Just make me believe in love when you're gone. Forever after. Just make me believe that we find someone here in the afterglow. Here in the afterglow.
Hello guys, welcome back to the semifinal between USU White and the UNL Valorant Crimson. I'm 1B joined by my co-caster K9, and if you missed the very first map, it was 13-7 or 13-6 on Bind, and we're gonna head straight into UNL Crimson's map pick. They won Bind 13-7, but we're gonna head straight into UNL Crimson's map pick, which is Icebox. And since both teams are ready, we're gonna head straight into Agent Select. And by the look of these compositions, do you notice anything too different apart from the Euro pick coming out from Nebraska, K9?
Apart from the Euro brick, not really. Most teams going for kind of the standard nowadays.
Yeah.
Viper essential in Icebox as the the controller agent. Those long sight lanes very important to kind of lock down. Best way to do that is with the Viper. So no Omens or Brimstones or Astros on this map this time. We're also seeing Sky come in, give a little bit more information, and the Sova on both sides as well. So a little bit more information coming along. But other than the Yoru, pretty standard compositions from both sides.
One thing that I am noticing actually is the fact that neither one of these teams are going to run a Sage along with the Viper. That's been the staple lineup on Icebox. No matter what rank you are, no matter what tier you are inside of Valorant, it's always the Sage and Viper combo, because you said it, with Viper, you get to cut off a lot of line of sight. You get to make your own, especially with those toxic screens. But also, the same thing can be said about Sage, but mainly with those ice walls, you can block off rotations from the defenders when it comes to rotating in and out of sight, especially when it comes to those post-plants positionings. If you are an attack, if you're on defense, it's to slow down the attackers, especially with those slow orbs combined with the ice walls. So it'll be very interesting to see how both of these teams operate without the Sage in their comp, but I'm excited to see Yoru nonetheless. 2 times in a row that we see Nebraska run the Yoru on not only Bind, but also Icebox.
Nebraska, big fan of that Yoru. Went kind of crazy map number 1. We'll see how it goes on Icebox as well. But one thing to note is a lot of teams right now have been starting to replace the Sage with the Chamber. A little bit more mobility with those teleports. Has 2 of those traps that also can slow, and one can kind of block off that tube entrance. That can be a problem, but we're seeing 4 members over here. Cody finds the first one onto Primordial, and that's going to call for the rotate here from UNL Val Crimson to try and get out and head over to B, but Chamber waiting their trap set up as well. Means that they're going to get slowed down just a little bit. And this is a really good lurk here from Jimbo. Might be able to find one, but Sam's over here. Finds one and gets the teleport out of there. Jimbo is able to find Cody. So that's 1 for 1 in the end. And Sam finds the Yoru clone, takes him out. Jimbo looks for more, but Waffle finds him. Sam's going to find Nebraska. Spike's still not down here for Crimson, just Shadow. Has a couple of those headhunter shots if he wants to make use of them.
30 seconds
such
left.
a tough place here, trying to go. Not able to find one. Sam a little bit faster with the draw. Finds the pick first, and USU White turn off strong here.
Yeah, I've said it in buying before, but when you get those first rounds, you get you get a nice amount of credits to buy any gun not any gun you want, but some teams have enough credits to buy a rifle depending on how many kills you get in the very first round, or if you got the spike down or not. For USU White, they were able to get the kills they needed. Sam gets a Spectre. We see a Marshall and Cody Rue. We see 2 more Spectres for Halibut and Mohimi. But for the side of UNL Crimson, we see pistols because, again, after that first round, they don't have enough to actually force a buy or even get some SMGs in their belt. The first kill, though, goes for Cody Rue on that Marshall. He's able to get away, but he doesn't have another drift until he gets to kill somebody. Limi gets 2. It's Halibut. It's another for USU White, and it's a flawless round for USU White on their 2nd defense in a row.
A flawless rounder for USU White. No one dropping Cody Rue. Nice shot there with the Marshall. Finds an early pick. See him on the jet just in time. Making some plays, getting those dashes. Icebox has quite long sight lines as well, so we didn't see any up on bind, but we might see some offswing picked up here, especially with the chamber and the jet. Very powerful weapon in the hands of a good shot. Can take down a player in 1 bullet, means that you can really even or set the odds in your favor early into rounds. And with jet and chamber, you can get out of danger really easily as well with those dash and the teleport. But they're running right into Sam's trap setup here, and the rendezvous out. Get Sam to safety. The slow orb slows him a little bit. Sam through the smoke finds Jade and gets out of there. Puts it into the early 4 versus 5, but gun advantage still over to USU White.
Spike planted.
Yeah, I believe that Val Crimson have some rifles in their hand as well as 2 rounds in a row. They do have enough to buy or 4 buy actually in this round. Actually, no, they don't. They have some Spectres on the board. Nebraska grabbing 1, but he gets quickly traded out by Sam. It's a 3v3 or 4v3 man advantage for the side of USC White. The Chambers on the side of Val Crimson is on very low HP, red HP. He's taken down by Cody Rue on that Marshall. It's a nice shot from him for Jimbo. Does grab a trade on his doppelganger, but it's 1-for-1 trades, and it's actually a 1v1 at the end of the day. Both teams finding some success with their trade, but USU White with the man advantage finds himself giving it up too easily, and it's been Jimbo able to clutch out that 1v1 on the trade. Sam looking the entirely wrong way, and it's finally, well, not really finally, but attacking round nonetheless for UNL Val Crimson.
Yeah, but a very expensive round.
Yep.
Rifles invested. 4 members dropped. They do get the spike plant, which helps a little bit with their money, but not able to buy up everything. We see a Spectre, we see Marshall, Shadow not able to fully buy as well, means that it's going to be a pretty mixed bag buy here for UNL Crimson. Meanwhile, USU White operator in the hands of Cody,
That works.
and rifles in everyone else's hands, means that they definitely are the favored ones on this round at least. But drone comes out, spots Waffle. He's gonna have to back out of there. A nice shot from Cody, making use of that operator, puts it in early 4 versus 5. Nice flash from Nebraska, so able to find Halibut. Nebraska trying to go big here, but shut down by Limi. Op still here for Cody Rue.
Val Crimson finding the man advantage very early on, but USC White fighting back with the man advantage of their own 3v2, 4v2, now 3v2, now 3v1. And it's now Vijimbo in the 1v3 situation himself. He has to find 3 other players. His doppelganger, though, is on a very low HP, so if he shoots him with that phantom that he has in hand, or Vandal, I'm not too sure what it is, I didn't really look at it, but if he shoots his doppelganger with that weapon, actually, no, he actually gets killed by the sky, and at the moment, Vijimbo, who doesn't even have spike, is actually no, they do have Spike. My fault. They do have Spike, and they're on the second tier. But he misses his shot
30
again on the
seconds left.
doppelganger hanging out by screens. The Viper on the side of USC White escaping with his life, but it is this Jimbo actually getting shot very low at HP himself, and he gets found out, and it is a third round for USU White. So again, these rounds, I mean, the past few rounds at least between both of these teams, past two, I mean, have been back and forth in terms of trades. That one was a 1v3 advantage for the side of USU White to end off that last round. And again, gun difference is going to be a huge issue here, as UNL Crimson did have an expensive buy that round, and if they lose this round, they're probably going to have to go into force.
They're probably gonna have to go into a save if they lose this round. Nebraska only able to afford a ghost. Couple mixed bag buys as well again means that Val Crimson don't have a lot of money to work with. You see the drone trying to create a little bit of space over here towards B and towards yellow. We spot out Sam and we see the clone comes out again. Procs that trip.
Here.
Moves that from the utility of Sam, and a counter drone comes out. Double check the area. Oh, Shadow making his way up. See the dimensional drift being used to hit a lot of info over here. Sam finds Soup though, and Initiate has a nice lurk up towards A and is able to find Mimi look in the wrong direction. Shadow finds Elveth as well, and Waffle gets the trade back, makes it a 3 versus 3.
3 versus 3 between both teams, even man count at the moment. Anyone could take this round. I saw the chambers on the side of Val Crimson take a little bit of chip damage. Shadow near this kitchen area on that little plank right next to the middle crates inside of the site. I'm going to rotate to the kitchen, probably find himself a kill, but it's actually from Jimbo to make this a 3v2 for his team. There goes Shadow again on this rotate through kitchens, almost finding himself a Cody Rue, but not able to confirm that pick. But look at this, Val Crimson with the site control on the A site. Viper's going to start planting. Jimbo getting that spike down, and this confirms a little bit of credits for the side of UNL Val, who, to be honest, had a little bit of a janky buy. They do have rifles, but if they don't watch out for this rotation from Shadow, or not really a rotation, but a lurk, he's able to claim one off of that lurk from Kitchens, and it leaves Cody Rue in a 1v3 situation. He has to find 3 other players, and one in Kitchens. He already knows this, but he's being shot from all sort of angles. Shadow moves his position up further towards mid, and he's able to light Cody Rue up. But Jimbo has the bigger hand in this gun fight. If he's able to swing, and it's with the Sheriff that he's able to confirm that kill. If he's quick enough, he could get this operator, and he does. And it's not only a good round economically for Val Crimson to claim, because I mean, look at how many creds they got, but also for Jimbo grabbing that operator, I think, for themselves. Or are they going to give it to any one of the players? No, actually, he is going to hold on to it for himself, and that's really an odd sight to see a Viper with the operator. But good news for both teams. USU White have 2 ultimates, the Tour de Force, and for Jet, Cody Rue has the Blade Storm ready. For UNL Val Crimson, the Toxic, the Viper's Pits, and also I believe the Tour de Force for the for Shadow. So really good ultimates for both teams.
Good ultimates available for both teams. 2 rifles in the hands of USU White. Sam with the Tour de Force and Blade Storm available for Jet means that they're not out of it. Definitely can go big with either of those. They can hit their shots. But a nice 50 last round there from UNL Crimson. Really puts the economy back into their hands. A lot of money to buy. Pick up some big rifles as well. And a teleport in the back set up here from Nebraska, and he's going to go ahead and teleport back there. They think it's a little scary as sights are coming all around, but
Spike down.
so shots go wide on Waffle. And Shade finds 2 though. Cody finds the trade with the Blade Storm. Soup finds that trade. It's going to be a 2 versus 2.
2 versus 2 between both teams. Sorry, 2v2 between both teams. USU White versus Val Crimson. There goes the normal Soup to grab a 1 on to Sam, and it leaves Cody Ruboy in a 1v2 situation. The Blade Storm's going to come out. He does claim 1. Switching over to his rifle, can he claim the second? He turns at the nick of time, but neither one of these players can hit their shots on each other. But he does claim the last, and it's Cody Ruboy with a double with that Blade Storm, and he's able to claim a 4th round for USU White off of a fantastic 1v2 clutch.
Yeah, nice blade storm there. Finds the final frag.
works.
Clutches the round up for USU White, and he gets that operator back into their hands. Means money starting to go back into USU White's favor. They did somewhat save. 2 ultimates used, one by Sam, one by Cody Rube. But still not a lot of money to work with. Looks like might have been a DC from UNL Crimson, but pause doesn't come out.
Scanning ahead.
Yeah, not gonna ask for a pause actually. Nebraska making his way into kitchen, gonna get caught on that trademark, so they know that he is
You
in
want to
kitchen
play?
now. The flash is
Play.
coming out. He does flash one, but he can't even find neither one of these two players was camped out where Halibay was there. Mohalimi carrying over his form for the first map is able to find a kill onto Jade as it goes another for
Spike
USU
down
White as
B.
they're absolutely walking all over this VAL Crimson attack on their defense. On Icebox, Seekers come out for USU White. Mahalini using the ultimate ability in order to find a location of the last 2 players.
enemy
Does find
remaining.
one. There goes the disconnect from Shadow, as I think that was the player to DC, and it leaves the Sova in the 1v5 situation. He's very low in HP, so this is not possible, but he does grab a nice kill into Waffle. So, I mean, he does get a little bit of extra crits from that 1 kill, but ultimately, he's not going to find the last 4. But what he can do is probably just waste enough time in order just to save the only rifle that he will have.
30
Because
seconds left.
like you and I have mentioned before, Val Crimson are not in a good spot economically.
Ooh, but Cody top shot
Revealing
goes a
area.
little bit wide, not able to find Soup. 30 HP. Dart comes out just to clear his behind, but no one's there. And he's just hoping to save this
10
rifle. A nice
seconds
shot
left.
there into Holobeth. Means that's going to take another rifle out of USU White's hands. And the clock is just going to time out here. Round does go over to USU White, and you might see a little bit of a pause as one of UNL Crimson's players are having a little bit of disconnect trouble with a Shadow. Hopefully they're able to sort everything out. And it looks like they have, because they're moving around, walking around back there, so I think we're good. No pause needed this time, and everyone on UNL should at least be able to buy up this round. Only one kind of a little bit short on cash is going to be Nebraska, but is able to pick up a Spectre off the ground, means that he's got something to work with, and Jimbo has that Viper's Pit as well, means definitely a very winnable round here for UNL.
Yeah, if they can clear out this A site, activate that Viper's Pit in the middle of that A site, and again, like I said, force these defenders out of the A site, that Viper's Pit is going to make it incredibly hard to retake the A site. Take a shot every time I say A site, but instead their
They found
focus
my
is going
trap.
to be towards the B site where Sam is, and he's able to get a kill and rendezvous one out of there. That's the killjoy gone, and that removes so much utility off of the board for this attackers. But again, look at this, they have control of this B site area, and they have just enough space to work with to get a plant off. So the Viper has to be very, very careful here that he doesn't get himself, okay, I was going to say be very, very careful in order to not get himself killed. Nebraska should have been very careful, well, actually careful with his shots, because he had a good opportunity and he missed it, and he dies forward 5v2 quarter side of USU White, or actually 5v3 for USU White, now 4v3 as Shadow claims to kill onto Halibay.
Waffle, nice trade there on the Shadow. However, this Viper Pit is very dangerous, decaying all
One
over.
enemy remaining.
Sam gets a nice trade there, and Jimbo gets taken down. Finds one, but Limmy is better for him, and that means that USU White picks up 6, finds their operator back into the hands for the Jet.
Gun here.
Definitely a much better performance this game
A girl
for USU
out.
White.
Yeah, they're completely dominating their opponents on this defense. And I don't usually like to use that word because, I mean, 6-2, it's a 4-round difference, but for the most part, USU White have found a lot of success on these defenses very, very comfortably. They're
Track
getting a
them
lot of
down
easy
right here.
first picks. You see Sam able to get the first pick into the last round and rendezvousing on out of there. That's been a common pattern that's been happening throughout the last, well, I want to say 4 rounds that USU White have been able to get. And there you go, to Cody Rue, able to get a kill onto Nebraska. The early aggression for USU White paying off, and Val Crimson are not dealing with this early aggression well. They're not dealing with it well at all. I think that is a toxic screen, or what is that? I'm sorry, that's not even a toxic screen, that's a toxic cloud from the side of USU White, actually, I believe, and able to slow down this A push for the time being. But again, like I said, UNL Crimson, the main issue that I'm seeing is the early aggression from USU White is not being shut down off rip. Instead, it's paying dividends for these players, these aggressive players, Cody Ruboy and also Sam Chambers and Jet, able to get the first picks each and every time and not get punished for it.
Yeah, and Cody Rue holding this mid cross and is able to find that. Shuts that down, and now Cody Rue 2 on the board this round. 2, 3 versus 5. You know,
30
Val
seconds left.
needs to try and hit this A site. They've got 25 seconds left unless they want to try and save these rifles. It's Jaden, nice shot, but Halibeth gets the trade right back. And this is going to be a 2 versus 4 Shadow. Trying to find something. Soup's going to be able to find one. 13 seconds. They need to get this spike planted if they want to try and win this round.
10 seconds left.
Clock's ticking. Looking for one. Shadow finds first, but not the second.
A.
Clock's ticking. Not enough time now. Soup gonna walk into the crosshair of Cody Ruboy and knocks that one down. Another on the board for USU White.
And that actually was very clutchable from Primador Soap because for Mohalimi, he was very low in HP, 3 HP. If he would have isolated Cody Ruboy and maybe Cody Rue would have missed a shot with that operator and he isolated that gunfight with the Vandal, he would have won that gunfight. And he most definitely, when approached with another gunfight with Mohalimi, who again was on 3 HP, he would have won that gunfight as well, and he could have clutched that out very easily. But again, Cody Rue is not missing his shots with this operator. And it's that, again, that early aggression that pays off for USU at the very beginning. Nebraska being picked off very early on. And again, they're going to try for this mid push, but this time their early aggression pays off, and it's Shadow get the first pick up the Halibut.
Yeah, nice shot. Mordio is going to find the second. Nice trade out here by Waffle. Mimi, but a nice lurk here from Nebraska is able to find the trade right back. Waffle goes try to go big, but only able to get one. No scope from Cody Ruboy, goes a little bit wide, and he's stuck in a 1 versus 2. Come out, but CEO of Nebraska claims the final kill of the round, and UNL already on the board now. Finally, after a little bit of a dry spell, 4 rounds in a row, they're able to pick up their third.
A good third to claim a row, a much needed round actually for UNL Crimson, because this has been a couple of rough rounds to watch in a row. Not only in terms of what we've seen from them gameplay wise, it's not bad by any means, but it's been kind of rough to watch as USU White have been rolling all over them. But in terms of also their econ as well, their econ has taken such a big hit from the amount of rounds that they've claimed in a row, as we see a botch pop the cloud smoke from the Viper on USU White. The first few bullets, or the first few gunfights actually happened through mid, but at the moment, no picks going in favor of either team. Nebraska should get a pick here, and he does. Cody Rue just drifting and jumping around like a crackhead or something, and he's able to get punished for it. UNL Crimson with the man advantage early on. Halibut should be paying attention here, and he doesn't, but he's able to flick onto Halibut. Some good reflexes there. Mohalimi grabbing the 2 good trades for Crimson, and another good trade for Crimson, as it was just a 5v3, but now I think a 3v1 at the end of the day for UNL Crimson. See Nebraska, and also I believe Primador Soap grabbing some very crucial flags as they plant the spike, and now they can play this post play however they want to.
Yes, Sam, now 1 versus 3 does get tagged by that silver recon as well. It means they know exactly where they're coming from. And Nebraska on a nice flank here to try and shut down Sam. Sam, no idea where Nebraska is, and Nebraska inkling. The tap comes out, not able to hit the first shot, but cleans up the spray. Hunter's Fury comes out, not needed in the end. Now 4th one on the board
Last
for UNL
round
Crimson.
before the switch.
Yeah. UNL Crimson grabbing a good attacking round there, and this is the last round before we do the big switch for both of these teams. And for the most part, USU White have claimed a lot of good defenses. UNL Crimson have found themselves a comeback though, and once they switch onto defense, it'll be nice to see how they do. For the most part, I haven't noticed anything like when I talked about the Sage pick and how
You
big I
want to
thought it would be,
play?
I haven't
Let's
really
play.
noticed it that much. The toxic screens being very, very useful for both of these teams. Respectfully for different reasons. Here goes the first pick though for Cody Rue. Again, early aggression. This time USU White for the last 2 rounds. It wasn't paying off. This time it does. Nebraska finds himself in mid. It's a good rendezvous though from Sam, but Nebraska still finds that kill. Double for Halibay is lined up as Vajimbi and Jade just run at him. And he's able to get those 2 picks based off of that. And it's now Val Crimson, or sorry, not even Val Crimson, USU White now with the 3v2 man advantage. But
Enemy
so
down.
there with the flank, and he's able to get that kill.
One enemy remaining.
Now he's in a gunfight with Waffle, and Waffle's able to win that route along with Cody Rue. Both of them in sync with one another as they claim a
Switching
kill at
sides.
the same time. Now we go onto the round switch. Crimson on defense as well as USU White on the attack now.
The USU White, really nice defense there. 8-4. Much better performance than the first game, and Cody Ruboy playing phenomenally on this jet. 13-7. Went a little bit crazy with that operator, but we're gonna see how he's gonna change things up on this attacking side now. I do really like USU's comp overall. They have a lot of info gathering abilities, skills, and just utility in general to make sure that they can get onto site. But a lot of pressure on Cody Ruboy to try and make this space with this jet, able to try and dash out, gather a lot of attention, maybe get a frag or 2. And we're seeing this 5 stack for USU White over on this B side. But Nebraska's here has that flash ready. Go ahead and use it. It's good for 1, it's good for 2. Not able to teleport out of there. Waffle finds the trade. And Jimbo has these mollies up. Is able to find a Cody Rue with that spray down with the frenzy. And now early 2 versus 4. A really good defensive hold for UNL Crimson.
Toxin screen down.
Yeah, kind of good picks that they wanted. That they're able to shut down this attack or this burst coming in from USU White. USU White not finding a good pick very early on, not able to translate that into a definite round win. But the round is not over till it's over. Shadow may be caught out here if he's not careful, but he does claim one with a headhunter. Grabbing ahead, hunting ahead with it, and it now leaves Waffle in the 1v4 situation. He does have somebody flanking him, but does he know that? It doesn't look like he does. But Jimbo doesn't even really look that clear on where exactly this Viper's positioned. Are they going to play a ring around the Rosie? No kidding. No.
30 seconds
Waffle's
left.
just going to head in from garage into the B site. But Jimbo is just kind of wiser about it. But the B site is clear for the most part, so he could get an easy plant down. He does have snake fights as well as the toxic screen set up, the toxic screens that he had set up from before. But now that the toxic screens are down, he's gonna have to wait until it's charged up again to actually activate it again. And I wonder, yep, he does get a kill here through mid, and he does have the Viper's wall, the toxic screen set up as well, since they did recharge themselves. But he's still in this 1v3 situation. There's possibly no way he can clutch this out there. But with that, a nice headshot from Benjimbo again. Not Benjimbo, but Waffle, I'm sorry, but they have the same agent, so it's easy for me to confuse them. But he does find that kill. Can he clutch this out? 73 health and a ghost against 2 classics, I believe. But, oh, the timing on that. Prima Doral Soup. Sorry, he doesn't even have the classic, he just has the ghost, and it's a nice shot from him, catching Waffle off guard as he was trying to throw a snake bite at Jade on that defusal.
A very close round there, was definitely winnable, but just a little bit off for Waffle. Had 2 snake bites as well, means that if it came down to it, the mollies could stall the plant out for the round win. Unfortunately, a nice shot there from Soup. Claims the round for Crimson. They do get the plant off, which means that's a little bit more money that USU White can work with. But looking like they're just gonna opt for the full save.
Time to jump.
5 classics in their hands, and they're gonna go for a hit over here. Try and find, hopefully, a plant, maybe some kills. We'll have to see. Shadow, Marshall in hand, trying to do what Cody Rue did. Back on their bonus round.
Let's see.
Gets the tag.
Trap destroyed.
So he does get that intel though, but Again, no real kills coming out as USU White finally make their way onto the site. They didn't even have to get a kill, but Shadow is actually the person who get killed. Despite USU all over the site, they can't seem to put Shadow out of hell. He's finally dead. 2 kills go in USU White's favor, but 2 of those players are on very low HP. One is flashed, one is dead, and now the last one is dead as well. It's the spike now being defused from UNL Crimson as they find themselves closer to drawing with USU White in terms of round count at the moment.
But USU White does get that plant, does get 2 guns off of, Crimson. Plenty of money to buy this round. Full rifles in all of their hands, and they even have the Viper's Pit if they want to try and use that this round.
Here.
Meanwhile, UNL Crimson gonna opt to go for the bonus. Keep the Spectres, keep the Marshals. Try and keep their economy afloat as best they can, and just looking to do damage to USU White this round.
I'm liking the way that Valorant are pulling their defenses this round. It reminds me a lot of what USU White did, just starting off with some very early aggression with these long angles that Icebox does have, especially with these rifles, and also, mainly the rifles, and I saw some being established from Sam on the Tour de Force and also Headhunter. First kill going in the way of USU White, though. Halibay making his way, actually no, that's Waffle and Kitchen, but Halibay right behind him, grabbing that first pick onto Sam, or I believe, I don't even know, Sam, or whoever that was, the Chambers on the side of Val Crimson, and it is Sam makes his way into mid, so it wasn't Sam, but Waffle is there to grab a kill this time on Nebraska. Sam is finally dead, though. Vajimbo is in a very unsuspecting position, a very big position from him. He can swing on these players that are in the middle of the B site. Both of these players are actually on the second tier of this crate in the middle of it. Bohelini grabbing a kill onto Jade, and now making this a 4v2, now a 3v2. Vajimbo coming back from that same position. I was talking about Cody Rue with the nice rotation, though. He does spot out one player in mid. That's the last player alive for Val Crimson 1v3 situation. He has the Marshal in hand, and he has to make it work. He has a shock dart in hand as well as a recon bow in hand if he wants to use it, but he doesn't use neither. He tries to go for the hip fire shot onto Cody Rue right in front of him with that Vandal, and he take a Vandal over the Marshal any day of the week, but it is a nice round for USU White to claim on their attack. And for Vajimbo, or not Vajimbo, yeah, but for UNL White, Vajimbo does both Vipers on either one of these teams have the toxic, the Viper's Pit, actually not toxic pick, but the Viper's Pit ready for whatever strat they want to use it. I wonder, I've seen so many, whenever both Vipers have their Viper's Pit ready, they usually stack them on top of each other. I've seen that happen before, and I don't know why, but it just always baffles me. But let's see what they do this round for Val Crimson. You see them set it up right on that A site, right where the attackers will usually enter from.
Yeah, and that Viper's Pit immediately being used here by UNL Crimson. Try and take all that space on A, not give them any sort of thing to mess around with. And USU White, though, playing a little bit slow, grabs that orb here for Nebraska and just gets out of... Oh, they were so close to seeing each other, but Halibay does not spot Nebraska. Grabbing that orb, spots him there. Flash comes out as well, and that's going to be a nice flash in Halibay. Throws another one, goes for a nice peek, and it's going to have this dimensional drift to get out of that dangerous position. It's Jade finds Cody Rue. Early 3 versus 5 for USU White. Waffle finds Shadow, though. Nice trade. Fake clone comes through, not able to play off of it. Teleports out. Jimbo finds Waffle, trying to lure through behind.
Last player standing.
And Nebraska,
Spike
another
down,
one.
B.
All down to Sam. 1 versus 4. 2 members here. Rotates are all coming out as well. Dark spotted. Sam, nice shot though on Nebraska. 11 HP. There's no time to work with though, means that it's going to be saving a rifle into the next round.
Sam, maybe trying to find some cooks, but at the end of the day, this round is over. So he probably should just save this rifle when he is. He's not gonna overpeak. He does have 16 health, so he could just be shot at it and he died. But at the moment, I mean, a good lead for USU White, but a very close one as well. Val Crimson finding at least some sort of comeback, because like I said, on their attacks they were being I'm not gonna use that term, but like they were for the most part it was USU White on top on their defenses, and Crimson kind of being caught out way too much, especially with the early aggression that we saw exhibited by USU White. But now on their defenses, they're able to do the same thing. And I mean, it's working. They're getting the early picks that they need, and it's turning into round wins. It's translating into that. So, and I think for the most part, when I'm watching Crimson, the main player that I did highlight most of all was Nebraska. And the reason why was because I love the way he's using his flashes. He flashes and then he pushes, and he's able to find like a couple of picks, or maybe a pick or two, or he's just able to get some early aggression off the board, just like how we're seeing from USU White. There goes a kill onto Jade, the KJ being caught out as she tried to rotate through screens. The Viper's Pit being used from USU White as they plant the spike right in the middle of it. And this retake is going to be a really hard one for Val Crimson, especially after they lose Nebraska and Primadora Soap. There goes a trade from Shadow on the tour de force. But again, this toxic, this Viper's Pit is going to be very hard to push through for this attack, because they have to find the Viper first before they even deal with the spike.
It's gonna be very hard to push in indeed. 2 versus 4. Shadow trying to get anything he can through the smoke, but Waffle finds Jimbo jumping down. Shadow stuck, Decayed, vulnerable, and Sam just needs a bullet to put down Shadow. Means that's gonna be double digits here for USU White on Icebox.
10-7 lead for USU White. 2 rounds to claim before they put themselves on map point as well. Would make it a 1-1 series, and then we go into Breeze tied up at the end of the day, and then we will eventually go into a 4th map will be confirmed that we'll go into a 4th map if USU White are able to claim this map win. But at the moment, I mean, Val Crimson are fighting some sort of fight back on their defenses. Just needs to be a little bit more consistent, as consistent as USU's White's defenses were. Here comes the repel, and Nebraska doesn't even react. I can't believe that worked out. And Halibay gets the first pick into this round.
Nebraska was in a good position, but unfortunately was spotted, checked out, and it's Jade 2 HP. Nowhere to run. Waffle. Easy 1 bullet needed. Shadow gets flanked from Lemmy in mid. And now, a nice shot from Primordial Soup. Means it's only a 4 versus 2, but still very, very tough situation for UNL Crimson. Cody Rue, operator in the hand as well. Sam in a good position, can teleport out if needed. Finds the first pick from War. Unfortunately, not able to find the second one. Soup finds that, but 3 versus 1. Or as well, Molly's available for Waffle. It's so hard for Soup to try and make happen. Half HP, but doesn't matter. Cody Rue just needs 1 with that operator. Means the team ace as well for USU White. 11-7, and now UNL Crimson. Not the best economy to work with here.
No, most definitely not. This is going to have to be it looks like a full save actually from Val Crimson, or a full save. I'm gonna say it. I don't even know what Crimson are gonna do at this point, but I'm pretty sure it is gonna be a force or full save from them. It looks like, yeah, I'm gonna just say full save because they're switching in between SMGs and they can't make up their mind. So a Bucky, a couple pistols. This is most definitely a full save from Val Crimson, and I mean they can't afford to really do anything at the moment. Not full buy, no rifles, no nothing. And so I mean at this point, a full save is most definitely the play here for Val Crimson.
Full save is what they're gonna have to do, and they're gonna have to pick up 5 rounds in a row if they can't pick up this thrifty one here. Jimbo has been a menace with this Bucky. Was a problem on bind, but spotted out by that. Doesn't hit the shot. Sam dodges out with his life. A little tickle in the foot with the pellet or 2, and let me find Soup. Nebraska gonna try and find this flank, but the Seekers come out and deny any sort of that. Waffle finds Shadow.
1 enemy remaining.
And Waffle on Nebraska as well, all down to Jade, Ghost in hand. 1 versus 5, almost impossible, and Waffle with the 3K. puts them onto game
Match
number
point.
2 point.
Good attacking round for USU White, but I mean, in terms of gun advantage, they most definitely had it there. The full pistols plus a Bucky for Val Crimson against the full rifles of USU White. Take your pick or drink your poison or whatever the saying is. The rifles will win those will win those rounds. And at the moment, USU White are in a good lead at the moment. Not only that, but they have a good economy, and not only do they have a good economy, but they also have 3 ultimates on the board. They have the Seekers, they have the Blade Storm, and also the Viper's Pit. And the first kill for USU White, Shadow very late to react, and Cody Rue able to get that first pick with the operator who did.
A nice shot there, but early Killjoy ultimate is gonna stall out the hit here from USU White. No way to clear that out, means everyone's gonna fall back for the rotations. But lots of time left on the clock. They've got over a minute to work with here. They could go back to B, they could go back to A. They've got all of the control in this game, and with Chamber down for UNL Crimson, they don't really have any sort of areas that they're able to watch. Nebraska forced to hold up there because they don't know if they want to move through there. But USU White quietly moving over towards A. Bird guiding light not able to find any sort of information though. But both recon darts as well. They spot one. The dart broken from both sides. A nice shock dart as well to try and stall out this plant. But it is going to be going down here in a second. Waffle finds Primordial Soup. A nice flank there. Jimbo finds Waffle. HJ does get tagged out here by this road CEO. Nebraska, a nice off shot there. 3 versus 3, very much winnable for Val Crimson. They need this if they want to keep this map alive. Another shot on the Sam, but Cody Rue finds the trade. We see the dimensional drift coming out as well to try and get whatever info they can.
Player standing.
1 versus 2. Bladestorm's out. He's invisible. They don't know where he is, but they hear the sound of him coming out. Bladestorm goes a little bit wide. 1 versus 1. Right, ticking. Hits the shot. Does he have enough time? I don't think he does. Nebraska.
Oh no, he doesn't.
Not able to get it, which means USU White able to pick up map number 2. Tied up 1-1 before this third map.
Very good map at the end of the day, as you get to see our beautiful faces yet again. But I mean, any little comments that you can make for either one of these teams, whether it be good or bad? I feel like I have a lot of good stuff to say about both of these teams, and maybe some bad to say about both of these teams as well, because I mean, there are a lot of positives and there are a lot of negatives in any type of game, not really just not only in terms of like the victors or the losers, one over the other. But what about you?
I think getting an operator into the hands of Cody for USU White was a big difference. He made so many good shots there, got early picks, really had a lot of control in that map. So going into this third map, I hope they can get another one in his hands early for that control.
Yeah. I also saw a lot of impressive stuff for USU White, not only on their defenses, but again on their attacks. I said this so many times with USU White, but it wasn't really at the fault of Crimson, more or less, but like for USU White, maybe Crimson could have done better at shutting this down, but for USU White, at least in their defenses, they were really good at pushing out so much early aggression, and Crimson just couldn't really find the first pick a lot of the times, not only on their attacks, but also on their defenses. And when they tried mimicking what USU White were doing, they were punished like just as like bad, and it was really crazy to watch because we've seen them do that on Vine, but it didn't translate onto Icebox. But we are gonna head into another 5-minute break, I believe, and after that we are gonna come back with Breeze. So do not go anywhere, unless you want to go to the bathroom, but do not go anywhere. We will be back in 5 minutes, no more nor less.
I don't wanna hold you, I don't wanna hurt you anymore. So I think you should walk out the door. Out the door. I don't wanna hurt you anymore.
Hello guys, welcome back. And if you missed the first two maps, the series is tied 1-1. Crimson taking the first map of Bind 13-7 and USU White taking the map of Icebox 13-7 as well. Both maps being taken by the opposite teams. The first map pick was USU's White, Crimson's pick Icebox, and they both took each other's map pick, which is ironic, but we are gonna go and head into the third map of Breeze, and straight off the bat, I cannot figure out for the life of me who actually. No, I can remember. This is USU's White map pick of Breeze, and as we head into the agent select, are you expecting anything, or do you see anything that's a little bit new? For me, it's not. I'm not seeing anything new in terms of team comp. You see the usual chambers. This map is a very big map with a lot of open spaces. It's a long range map. It operates as a long range map. It is a long range map, and so the chambers excels in those type of positions. And you also have the Sova paired with the Sentinel,
Choose your
the
agent.
Sentinel control combo of Sage and Viper on the side of UNL Crimson, but for USU White, not really anything too surprising from neither team.
Yeah, one thing to note is no chamber over here for USU White, instead opting for the Killjoy. Actually no, they have Killjoy and chamber, my bad. Meanwhile, UNL Crimson running the chamber and the Sage, so a little bit different compositions wise, but Cody back on the Jet, and unfortunately no Yoru this time. CEO of Nebraska gonna be on the chamber instead, so no Yoru for a third map in a row. But other than that, pretty standard teams overall. Viper's going to be the main controller for this map as well. Similar to Icebox, a very, very long range vision, which means that Viper's wall cuts off a lot of that, can cut sights in practically half. Makes it a lot easier for attackers to hit. But pistol round, both teams 1-1 in the series. USU White coming off of a nice clean win on Icebox. We'll see if they change things up, but starting it off, UNL Val Crimson. Wall already over here on A. Start as well. Spots out Cody and trying to take things slow actually after the wall comes up.
Yeah, it's crazy. For the most part, Breeze, with the way that Breeze is, it's a very big map, a lot of open spaces, and usually that means that it leans more towards the attacker side because the attackers have a lot of space to work with, and then likewise for the defenders, they have a lot of space to watch out for when it comes to these positionings. They're going to get an easy plant off, especially with the way that toxic screen just cuts through the site. The first kill goes into Val Crimson favor, and this trade comes in as well for USU White. Cody Rue now on that Jet, the same operator or the same agent that he was on, but the defusel's coming down. They don't have the correct lineup, and he's gonna stick it, and it's no, he doesn't complete the defuse, though they do get it halfway, so maybe if somebody gets on top of
Almost had it, just
Last
a little bit of time needed, but a nice shot there from Jimbo means that the round that Cody, unless he goes big here, 50 HP, but no time on the bomb, means that the round is gonna go to Val Crimson. They almost had it with the defuse. Shadow dies to the bomb, unfortunately, at the end, but it is just a pistol round, so not the biggest deal. Almost, Sam tried to stick the defuse and was unfortunately stopped at the last second. So Val Crimson keeps it alive and take the round win for themselves.
Yeah, that was a bit of a heart stopper for Val Crimson, and that started my heart. I thought he was about to get it. He stuck it too. He was a good soldier in sticking that Sam, but he just didn't. They got the lineup right at the right time. It wasn't even really a lineup. It was the toxic screen just dissipated, and they had the vision on him. But again, they're gonna go for this same A site push Val Crimson, and it worked out really well last time, despite that little scare that Sam had on a defusal. Val Crimson watching this back, they're gonna be so happy that they got this off like that, because that was absolutely crazy. They're gonna split off the site yet again with the toxic screen aimed diagonally towards these two pyramids in the middle of the A site. There goes the toxic screen, a counter toxic screen from USU White to slow down this attack and push, but at the same time, again, the toxic screen now being revived for UNL Val Crimson as they do get this easy plant off the pyramids.
A nice shot through the smoke there. Cody with a good trade out though. Shadow has a Vandal. Very powerful weapon, but Sam, one shot not able to land. Cody finds another one on Shadow though, so that's going to be the Vandal down, and Sam finds Promoto. This round's looking very good for USU White.
Last
It's
player
Blade
standing.
trying to find something, but Jade falls.
Oh,
Nice headhunter shot. 6 bullets left. Vandal picked up. Tries to find it, but USU White find the round back. Goes to them.
Thrifty.
And a thrifty.
They
They pick up the rifles. Vandal in hand as well means USU White. Very, very good round, especially since they full saved.
yeah. I was gonna say USU White. They should have claimed the very first round. Again, I'm gonna keep highlighting that moment. I think that's. Oh man, that's gonna. I'm gonna watch this back probably, and I'm probably gonna flip that moment. But they should have gotten a round off based off of Sam being under defusal for as long as he was. He didn't execute it because they got the shot off in the last time. But a nice round for USU White to claim, because in this round they get to full buy and we see Val Crimson on full pistols. But in terms of gun advantage, USU White do
You
have
want to
that
play?
in their
Let's
arsenal. But
play.
it's about hitting those shots, not really about who has the bigger gun advantage. Well, it's mainly about that, but like, you also want to hit your shots as well. Here comes the swing for Sam. It's a nice shot as he catches Shadow in that trademark, giving away his position, and with that intel, he acts upon it and he's able to snag the first kill.
Ooh, but Jimbo finds the flank onto Limmy, and the tour de force as well from
down
Val
A.
Crimson. They've been stacking the orbs. That's a big rifle. Already found one. Trying to find a couple more. Ooh, shot doesn't land. That's going to be the counter kill to ultimate.
Spike's here.
Primordial stuck in the corner. Nowhere to go.
There they are.
Try and get out of there, but is going to get locked down and suppressed.
Last player standing.
Oh, but a nice shot there. Nowhere to go. Stuck in the corner. Do they know he's in there? They do. And Cody Ruboy finds the last one. 2-1 for USU White.
I think that's the second time in a row we've seen a player get like detained in the lockdown. I think last time it was from UNL Val Crimson on Bind, and this time it comes from USU White now on Breeze. As Waffle is able to detain that last player and makes that gunfight a little bit easier for, well, not even a little bit easier, just high-key easier for the last two USU White players who really had nothing to worry about because he couldn't use his guns or abilities. But UNL Val Crimson are going to now line themselves up for the B site push. Your player lurking by mid. Nebraska does bring some shots onto a player, but he rendezvous on out of there. This the jet for UNL Val Crimson, I think that is not Cody Rue, but whoever that was, Shadow, I think it is, or no, it's not. I'm not going to talk about it, but UNL Val Crimson, the Shadow actually does take a little bit of damage from that turret, and he does get himself revived, but he does use a lot of armor for it. They're not paying attention to the back of the B site, and Waffle's able to get 3 headshots. The Viper's pit does go up, the spike does go down, and it's Jimbo able to finally shut down Waffle, but I don't know how they get into the B site and they don't clear the back of the B site. That's insane. And the retake is successful for USU White.
And what a play there by Killjoy, able to find 3 in the back of B site. Shouldn't have even been able to get 2, more or less 1. But walks away with 3, almost gets 4. A big ultimate used as well. Not on board anymore, and USU White feeling really good. A lot of momentum here in their favor. Jimbo, unfortunately, not able to pick up the round with that big Viper's Pit ultimate, and Waffle really going huge for his team when they needed it most.
In a position that he should have been shut down in a long time ago too. That's crazy. That's the thing about that, again, like that B site, I was very confused as to how he was able to capitalize off of that position. When you clear the B site, you clear the whole B site, not just you get a cloud smoking and then you dash right into it. You cleared the back of the B site as well. That's usually the very first position that you clear. They didn't clear it. They got punished for it. And Waffle walks away with a 3K when he shouldn't have. He shouldn't have gotten an 8 kill, let alone 3. And he's able to capitalize off of the mistake of Val Crimson. But here comes the ice wall from, again, Val Crimson, like I said. The snake bite, also the toxic screen being set up,
Spike
and a
down
nice little
A.
lineup from Halibut after the snake bite throw, and he's able to get the first pick on this retake. As they keep trying to plant the spike, 2 kills go out for USU
One
White.
enemy
The spike
remaining.
is finally down, but it's now up to the lone player of the Jumbo in the 1v5 situation. He is going to try his hardest to get this lineup correct, and he does have it correct. He does get a headshot, he does get 2 kills, but he actually doesn't have it correct because the spike got defused anyway. 2 players taking the fall, taking the bullets for the teammate that was defusing, and it is a good round again for USU White on that retake.
USU White, Mr. President, get down. Body blocking the bullets from Jimbo means that they're able to get the defuse off in the end. Does pick up 2, does save the rifle in the end, but the round goes over to USU White, playing very well. A nice setup there from Halibut with the poisons, with the toxic and the mollies. Able to just stall for a long time against UNL Crimson. And now gonna walk into the crosshair of Cody. Finds the first frag with the operator. Such a good shot with that. Been going really, really crazy. And so Nebraska needs to be very careful. Sam sitting on the edge of this door here. Walks into the dart. But unfortunately, Sam with the headhunter. A nice shot there. Is going to be able to grab this rifle and get out of there as well.
Nebraska gets that kill, or no, sorry, my bad, not Nebraska, but at the end of the day, both teams claim pick onto one another. It's an even man count 4v4. You see where the rest, actually all of these Val Crimson players are Primodorals and Elbow, but the rest of these players are in mid, and it looks like they want to go through the doorways into the A site directly, but they're going to come into contact with Halibut if they decide to go for this push. And also they have to worry about the position of the Jet, who actually, oh no, sorry, she rotates actually through mid, but at the end of the day, they are going to run into Halibut. He doesn't get the first pick as I thought he would. Shadow able to get that. He dashes and he gets a nice headshot before being shut down by his double Cody Rue with that operator. We saw how deadly he was in the second map on Icebox when he got those couple of kills, not even a couple, just a lot of kills through mid, but the link's going to go down regardless. Primodoro Soap is there. Nebraska with the lurk, or well, the push up, the aggressive position towards where that defender was. There goes Waffle and mid, though, able to get a nice little trade, but at the end of the day, it's a 1v2, and they know exactly where he's coming from. The operator in the hands of Nebraska, but he's shut down. What was a 1v3 now turns into a 1v1. Waffle able to find some success with the team. He's just running. He's just running out with the I think he wanted to get the turret down just to get some intel on that last player, but he didn't know exactly where that last player was. He was pushed up really far, and not really far, but he was in the middle towards the pyramids area. Regardless, though, Waffle didn't see his positioning that well, and he was caught out while trying to use his utility in that situation.
Yeah, Waffle just a little bit too ambitious there. A little bit too hot, overheated a bit. Almost clutches it up for USU White, but UNL Crimson take it right back. Operator now in the hand of Nebraska. Very powerful tool. USU White using their own op along with the Chamber Tour de Force. It's 2 big rifles in the hands of Uhu. Nebraska had the shot, and Hanami finds Shadow and no way to trade it out through this toxic pit. Viper's wall means that he's just gonna get out of there scot-free. A free man advantage
Gotta
for
wonder.
USU White.
I was gonna say, you gotta wonder if Nebraska got that kill into Halibut. If he kept holding that angle, maybe he would have gotten that pick. Okay, he picks it now and he gets him finally. There you go, Nebraska. It's the resurrection as well for Jade. I was just gonna say that actually no, for USU White, I was gonna say that they have 4 ultimates available, but for Val Crimson, I think they only had the one, and that was the resurrection from the stage, and she uses it, and it's a good resurrection to bring out as well. It gives them that man advantage, and now look at the amount of space that they have to work with. They have this A site which is completely open to them. There's nobody on this A site, and if they use, well, they've already used their toxic screens, but if they use their util right, they could set this A site up. There goes the dash in. He spots one, but he can't kill him. But Jimbo finds 2, and it's Sam and Cody Rue to fall, and now we got a 4v2 man advantage this time for Val Crimson. Again, like I said, that resurrection coming in at the crucialist of times, Waffle is able to find a trade, making this maybe winnable for USU White. Two players left alive.
standing.
Full health, actually not no more, as it's now up to the full health player, the lone full health player of Bohalimi. He does find a nice little wallbang headshot according to the UI, but that didn't really look like a wallbang to me, but oh well, he got it. There goes the secrets to come out as well for Bohalimi to scout out these last two players. There goes one, he finds them, and again, we see USU White. What was a 1v3 now turns into a 1v1 this time for Mohalimi. Last round it was for the KJ. He is going to get onto the spike, get it to halfway, and Jade has to peek at some point, and he
nice
can't
shot.
win the gunfight, and it's Mohalimi to clutch out the 1v3. That was an insane shot. What the hell
Now
was that?
there's some serenity.
What a shot there to clutch out the round for USU White. Moalini going crazy right there with the Vandal. Finds the 3, pops the Seekers as well. Should have been unwinnable, but nice headshots there, able to clutch it up for the team. And UNL Crimson a little bit low on money. They do have the Bladestorm available for Jet Operator in the hands of Nebraska again, but Jade not able to fully buy this round. USU White feeling really, really good. A lot of good plays and a lot of good players really showing up right now.
Yeah, we saw it from Waffle in the last round where he was really close to clutching it out, and now this round Mohalimi did what Waffle couldn't do, and that was clutch it out. But you can tell for USU White they do have this clutch potential, but they're gonna give up sight for free this time, and it's not uncommon to do this on Breeze. Usually defenders do this, they give up sight for free, and then they want to play for retake because that is the easiest way to defend sight. You can't just hold on to sight on Breeze because of the amount of open space that the attackers do have. You could do it on the B site, but not on the A site. And there you go. Actually, Cody Blue takes the tour de force off of Nebraska. There goes a couple trades between both of these teams, but it is USU White with the man advantage. Furthering that advantage, Mohalimi with the kill. Primo going so with the trade. The Viper's pick comes down, and it is USU White to defuse the spike.
Oh, and at the end, Jimbo finds that kill on the Halibut, but too little, too late. USU White get the round. They pop a big ultimate with the Viper's Pit to make sure that they get that defuse off. And now UNL Crimson not the best buy here. We see a Guardian. We see one rifle that Jimbo was able to save, and the rest of the team a little bit scuffed for buys as well. But USU White, full rifles in the hands of everyone means that they're fine with this.
Yeah, I was gonna say, give compliments to USU White as well. They're playing these retakes so nicely. They're doing it for free as well. We saw Waffle not really doing the retake in that one round, but just capitalizing off of the mistakes of Val Crimson. And there you go. Waffle's actually the first pick into this round. I gave him his praises, and then I immediately jinxed him. But Mohalimi, as I stuttered there, gets a double piece for himself and turns the man advantage that Val Crimson once had at the beginning of this round into his team's favor. But there goes the Vipers pit up for Val Crimson as they do get the spike down. Nebraska in an I guess in an unpredictable position for the USU White player as he catches one for himself on that lurking mid, and he is still by the McDonald's sign as he is finally found out by Cody Rue, and it leaves UNL Val Crimson in the 3v2 situation. They are at a main disadvantage, but it's still very clutchable for them, especially since they do have these Vipers pit up. There goes 2 kills. Each team getting a trade, each kill each. There goes Jimbo forcing the 1v1 situation. A couple missed shots, and it's Cody Rue to clutch it out. But does he have enough time on the spike? I believe he does, as we can get a bit of lag, and he does have just enough time, and it is still clutch for Cody Rue, as in a 1v1 he doesn't miss those.
Yeah, very close round there again for UNL Crimson, but Cody Rue with the classic able to find it. Operator still in his hands, and his team able to full buy rifles as well. But UNL Val Crimson able to match the buys this time. No operator, but everyone else has rifles. Primordial Soup with the Hunter's Fury as well. Big ultimate can find an early pickup. Only available for USU White is that Bladestorm, but Cody Rue's done well with it before. Can go big again. Early drone spots out Cody. And there's the Hunter's Fury to get him off of that position. Oh, tries to find Nebraska as he's jumping across, but not able to land the shot.
Yeah, they're gonna have to force Cody Rue off of these long range angles that he's holding with this operator because he's been an absolute menace. That's exactly what the 100 Career was brought out for, but it wasn't able to get him a kill. Nebraska, with his aggressive positioning, though, was able to grab a kill, but Cody Rue again on that operator, like I said, it's just being a menace, and he grabs one. There goes a trade for trade as USU White again. Both of these teams have been very good in their trades. First, USU White to dominate on these retakes. Cody Rue able to claim a second. Can he claim a third? No, that's Mohalimi's to do a little bit of kill stealing there. He is able to be aggressive with this, not only the operator in the hands of Cody Rue, but he's able to be very aggressive with that Vandal in hand. Jimbo not having his gun out on the late flank. It could have been a big one for him, but again, not having his gun out, and the spike is defused.
You're just a little too late bomb. Already being defused. Whole team was dead. Means that there's nothing really that Jimbo can do to try and prevent that round from going over to USU White. And now a little bit of a scuffed by. No, my rifle's in the hands of all of UNL Crimson. But USU White, very commendable lead right now, 8-2. A lot of money in their pockets, plenty to buy for the rest of the half. Cody doing so well with this operator so far. Found so many early picks, and the drone actually doesn't spot out Cody, which means that Shadow is going to walk right into that one's crosshair, and another early frag for USU White.
Oh, that's a bit unfortunate for Val Crimson. Not only on that pick, not really on that pick on Jade. That was just a nice shot from whoever. For the KJ, and then there goes another shot. But Jimbo on a flank, almost looked like he almost got turned by Holiday, but he does find that pick finally through alert through mid. And these first picks, we saw this on Icebox when USU White were on their defenses, but yeah, for USU White when they were on the defenses, as they do make this a 4v1 for USU White when they were on the defenses on Icebox. Sorry, I had to repeat myself, but they were able to get these first picks through Cody Rue mainly, but also through any other players as well. But through Cody Rue on that operator as gave away the position for Jimbo as he shot out the trademark, and Sam is able to act on it. But again, these first picks are just going in the way of USU White, and it's mainly Cody Rue to act on it. Even if USU White do surrender the first pick, it's always either Cody Rue or Mohalimi to quickly find a trade back, and then Val Crimson can't act on the first pick that they're given. And it's kind of weird to watch because it's been a consistent issue, not only on this map, but also on Icebox, as I've noticed.
Yeah, it's just so hard to get the trade against.
You want to
certain
play?
agents
Let's play.
Basically, as a get out of free button. Same with the chamber, and now the quick hit. This time onto B, they're just full sending it. But Primordial Soup walks into the Molly. They walk into the alarm bot and Waffle with this lockdown as well. Primordial's got to try and keep this alive, keep this up. The res comes out, but they're just going to get detained in the end. They got to break it, but unfortunately not two players detained. Only one of them really in a place safe. Cody with the blade drop goes over the wall. Doesn't need to fire through it. And the spike just gets defused. Nowhere to go. Alabama finds Jimbo, and that's going to be the first half of Breeze. USU White, a dominating lead right now, 10-2. Cody Ruboy going crazy, almost at 20 kills already.
Yeah, USU White just breezing, sorry that was a pun, but breezing through their defenses as they do claim that half 10-2, and Val Crimson not having any real say or fight back on their attacks, but maybe it'll be a bit different on the defenses. Maybe, I hate to say, I don't know, because like usually this isn't the case on Breeze, but maybe this is a defender-sided Breeze, but that'd be a very odd thing for me to say because usually that's not the case. Let's see how USU White attack though, because they do have these toxic screens in play, but so do UNL Val Crimson, and see the toxic screen being set up from this defense just to slow down the attack. That snake bite, I think maybe a little bit too far off the mark as we see Sam lurking through mid, able to get some shots on the Sage for Val Crimson, and no kill between neither one of these teams at the trail Trailblazer not getting anybody or hitting anybody. There goes a shock dart to do the intel gathering itself, and the first kill goes into Nebraska's favor with that headhunter in hand as the spike does go down for USU White.
Recon Dart getting a lot of good info, finds the first frag. Moalemi so low, but Cody finds one with that Sheriff. A nice pickup to even out the scoreboard, but a nice shot from Shadow knocks it back into Val Crimson's favor. Moalemi so low. The mollies to stall a little bit. They haven't checked this corner. Spike still ticking, gets the click on the Shadow. They don't check, they get number 2. Spike defuse, there's number 3, and they're gonna be able to find the 4th Waffle. Gets it. A round that definitely should have been UNL Crimson's. Goes over to USU White in the end. Puts them at 11-2. And now Crimson on the back foot here. One away from map point for map number 3.
Yeah, just a complete roll over from USU White. We did see fight back in that round from Crimson, but ultimately the positioning for Mohelini was made that round successful because the push came in for Val Crimson. They didn't know exactly where he was in that corner, and they got punished for it because he doesn't miss those. And we've seen him across the last 3 maps, not only able to hit those shots, but able to hit even more ridiculous shots than that, and that was just easy pieces for him. But now we see the setup for the site. The slow orb comes out for Val Crimson. The ice wall was there, but it gets decimated by this USU attack. It doesn't slow down anything. The recon dart not able to ping any of these players in that B site. There is, I think, 1 player in the back of the B site that goes to save. The first kill, though, goes into Val Crimson's favor, and it's a gun in the hand of the Viper. Waffle, though, able to get that trade onto the Sova, and now we have a 4v4 between both of these teams. But the rotate is actually going to happen from the B site towards that B main area and towards the A cave area into the A site. There goes a 2-piece for Waffle as he's able to claim 2 of his own. 2 of these players were shooting at him, and he flicked on them just as well. Now he's heading to mid. He doesn't have enough time to flick on the player behind him. Spike doesn't go down. It was being planted, but
left.
now we see Crimson with the 2v1 mid advantage. Oh, Halibay, you just could have taken a shot. He doesn't. He saw her too. But it is with Jumbo to spot him out by that crates, and we see Val Crimson finally, after so many rounds, finally claim their 3rd round.
Finally claimed their 3rd round, hoping to try and string a couple of these rounds in a row, hoping to find some life back into the series. And now USU White gonna be put on the back foot, opting to save this time. Waffle, a nice 3K, but in the end just gets shut down from Jimbo in the back, and that early Phantom or early Spectre that Jimbo picked up worked out quite well for UNL Crimson's favor.
Teleport's ready.
Enemy.
So how USU White attack this round. They only have a round to claim before they put themselves on map point and also serious point, because this would be a 2-1. Yeah, 2-1, so they'd have to claim 3-1 in order to win the whole series. But at the moment, they're very, very close. They're in such a good lead, 11-3. At least it's not like the 9-3 curse, but or 9 whatever. Yeah, 9-3 curse or whatever. But they do get that 10-2 and you see the Trailblazer. Days a player. Jade, though, is able to get a pick onto Waffle as he rushes into the back of the team site. The spike is going to go down, but USU White are losing so many players. They're biting off more than they can chew. As UNL Val Crimson able to bring another 2-piece, 1-2 for the Sage of Jade, and we see them claim another round. A retake being more than successful. That was exhilarant from them as they now claim their 4th round. 2 rounds in a row from them, and it was a flawless too.
It's just Jade playing very well that round with the early Vandal picked up on round number 3. Allows for them to shut down that push very, very quickly, and now Shadow's the one with the operator in their hand, means that they can really control the flow of pace of this game. But actually, instead opting for that Guardian, I think it's a little bit risky, especially considering how you're 2 rounds away from having to be down 2-1 in the series.
Yes, very much so. Let's see if USU White lose this round. I believe they put themselves on a force or, well, yeah, force by actual or full save. I'm not too sure. My maps aren't that good in terms of Valorant or CS:GO market at least, but they would not be in a good spot economically. Though they do claim the first kill into this round. Cody Rue on a nice little lurk through mid claims the Sova from Crimson, and that removes so many intel off the board, so they can't really detect where these attackers are going to be at if they decide to get a plant off onto this site. And there you go, they're going to make their push now. The toxic screen is still in their way, but they're going to rush through it, lose a little bit of health, but then gain it back quickly. Actually lose a little bit of armor and then gain it back quickly. The spike is going to go down. There goes the recon dart to do its job, though, as the resurrection comes out. Nebraska grabs Waffle, and that's the KJ down, and I believe the KJ actually did have a lockdown ready to go, but then she got eliminated, so they can't use it no more. Oh, but USU White find a fight back. Mohalimi Halabay getting a pick each. Primodoro able to shut down momentum that USU White were driving with, and the spike is still down, so UNL Val not only have to find these 3 players, but they also have to defend the spike. That's a large task to do, especially with the long-range angles that USU White have established. Cody Rue able to make 1 count. There was another this time for Jimbo, but Jimbo claiming 2. He can't find himself the 3rd. This spike is being defused. He has to hurry up, but he's so low on HP, and Primodoro Soap with that Vandal in hand actually can't get the spike defused. USU White wasting enough time in that round.
Yeah, such a close round there, but in the end, USU White stalling just enough so that the fuse can't come out for UNL Val Crimson even at half.
That works.
But they have plenty of money to work with. 2 operators in the hands of UNL Val Crimson can be very, very problematic. One for each site. We'll have to see how USU White wants to play against this now. They might be walking into the crosshair of Nebraska if they're not careful. Ooh, Cody raises his shoulder, gets out of there just enough time.
Yeah, unfortunately, that Twitter force, you get 1 shot with it and it's an insta kill. It's like it's basically an operator. That's why you see a lot of teams, at least even if they have that market advantage, they won't pay for a gun if they have the Twitter force in hand. Shadow, though, with an operator is going to grab Sam, and that takes your chambers off the board. I don't actually think they had their ultimate ready, but it doesn't matter. They're off and they're down and out for the man count. That ice wall actually for the side of Val Crimson doing a lot of work and slowing down his attack, but Jade in the corner has been so very good at camping out in these like little positions that USU White just aren't watching, and he's able to capitalize off of it. Waffle not making his shots count, and he does just miss out on the Jet who gets to rotate. Shadow gonna hold a long angle with that operator through the defender sided archers, and at the moment Val Crimson with the man advantage. Waffle able to shave down his man advantage, making it a 3v2 as he does get some of his health back. Actually, Shadow not making his shot count, and he actually just missed it. Waffle is single-handedly bringing his team back into the game. It's a 3K for him, and Mohelimi now getting the spike down. All Waffle has to do is find himself the quad, and Nebraska, who's been hitting his shots all game. He has the headhunter in hand, but he wants to use that Vandal. It's Mohelimi to find the last pick into this game, but that was a round off of the back of the KJ of Waffle. So excellently done from him, and we see USU White claim an emphatic victory on Breeze, 13-4.
Yeah, and that round definitely should not have been going USU's White. They had the advantage. They had 2 ops. But just the nice shots there from the Killjoy, able to bring it back, and huge play from those 2 at the end to clutch up the round there for USU White. Take them onto now series point versus UNL Crimson, but no break needed this time. We're going to be going into the 4th map here very shortly of Ascent, which is, I believe, USU White's map pick, or no, UNL Crimson's map pick. So hopefully they're going to try and take this one back and bring us onto game number 5, the deciding map of Split. We'll see how the teams decide to shape up this time as we get into Agent Select.
what I want to see more of from sorry, what I do want to see more from UNL Crimson at least is find a little bit more fluidity in their attacks, because we saw this on Icebox and then we saw it on Breeze, where their attacks, they just got picked apart each and every time from the early aggression from USU White. And I'm using that term a lot because that's exactly what happened. Cody Rue able to get so many picks early on. Not only I think a couple of picks with some marshals, and then almost all of his picks coming from the operator, and no response really from Crimson on their attack. So on Ascent is a more defender sided map than Icebox and Breeze, or maybe just as much as Icebox, but Ascent is a defender sided map nonetheless. And now we see UNL Crimson start out on the attack,
Select
and we
your
need to
agent.
see them clean up their attacks a lot. We need to see them get the very first picks into this round if they want to drag us onto splits. But I'm loving the picks again. We see the Brimstone, and according to the patch notes, especially with the Astra changes, you're going to see more diversity with your controllers. You're going to see more Omens, especially with the way that they buffed him, and more Brimstones, especially with the way that they buffed his smokes and the height of his smokes and all that. And that's really nice to see. And also a double Sentinel for the side of Val Crimson. But for USU White, we see the Omen, we see the KO, as well as the KO on the Crimson, and also the KJ from both teams. KJ, this is a staple map for her, so it'll be very interesting to see how both of these teams operate with her, not only on their attacks, but also on their defenses.
Yeah, Killjoy, a very staple agent on Ascent, and the only real way for either for UNL Val Crimson to destroy the KJ lockdown, especially how potent it is on A site and on B, is going to be that KO Molly. No Sova available, no shock darts, no Hunter's Fury. They do, if they want to burn an ultimate, they can burn the Brimstone Orbital Laser, but other than that, there's not a lot that they can do. But CEO of Nebraska back on his Yoru, big fan of that agent. So we're going to see what kind of trouble we can get himself into. But we're getting right into the pistol round here with UNL Val Crimson on the offense. Cody, Sheriff in hand, looking to go big, finds a nice shot there on the Primordial Suit, the first blood, and that's going to be smokes down. Going to make it really hard for UNL Val Crimson to actually execute now that they don't have any of those sky smokes.
That's a shame. That's why I said they need to fix this. They need to find a way to get these first picks very early on, make it even, or actually get the first man, get the man advantage in their favor very early on, and they surrender the first pick within like the first 10-20 seconds, and that's not ideal for your attack considering how defender sided this map is. But look, they're going to rotate towards the B site, and only Waffle is here, but KJ, especially with the util that she has, the turrets, the nano swarms, can hold down a whole site from herself. She also has support from mid, but an Omen is there in mid as well. He rotated. Actually, no, that's Nebraska, but he can't find a kill. Jade, there you go. He does find himself a kill, but it is quickly traded out. UNL Val Crimson find themselves with the man disadvantage early, not early on, but as the spike is planted. The Aquarian Boathouse, the Ghost on Sam, 2 kills going out for one of these teams. The Jimbo and Mohalini grabbing the kill each. There goes the kill though with the nano swarm from Jade, and it's a double for Jade, swinging wildly with that ghost, and he finds himself a 3K, and it's a round for UNL Val Crimson, despite having the early man disadvantage. Despite all of that, they are able to find their very first round, all because they rotated from the A site to the B site.
The Shadow with the KO hits the suppress on the Waffle, which means no nano swarms, no turret, no alarm bot available, and they're able to just walk onto site for free. No way to turn on those mollies than to try and stall. They're basically just a walking classic at that point. So the round that started off definitely USU White's favor, in the end goes over to UNL Crimson, and the 5-man push over here. Recouple is destroyed, and smokes come down, and the 5-man push all the way out. Teleport for Nebraska. Already super find Cody through the smoke, and the wall comes out as well to make sure no one's getting through this. Spike's still not down yet. We're going to grab that, and Plank comes out a little bit late, but I don't think USU White really has a chance unless they can go big with some of these classics. They find one, but there's just so much utility here from UNL Val Crimson. They find one, but another trade comes out here Well, let me another classic kill. Pick up Shadow with the Kalashnikov. Is gonna be able to find 2. Looking for 3, but unfortunately not. CEO Nebraska is gonna be able to find the last frag. A little bit closer than Val Crimson would have liked. They lose 3 members, but in the end, they do pick up the round, and now they're gonna be on their bonus.
Bonus indeed. You see, USU White are actually going to fall by this round, and for UNL Val Crimson, it is a bit of a janky buy. 3 pistols, 2 specters, and you look at the gun difference between both of these teams. USU White most definitely do have that, but I'm loving the way that Val Crimson are doing what they're doing in these attacks. I really love seeing it. They're using their abilities to shut down the abilities that USU White have with those suppression knives, the 0-point ability of the KO, and not only that, but also they're getting into sight very quickly, and they're shutting USC White out. Oh my God, he's in a very good position. The trigger discipline isn't there. He could have actually gotten a 3K had he waited, but he gets 1. 2 kills go for USC White, but Jimbo is quickly traded out as he does find a kill of his own. USC White with the man advantage here, but we've seen it so many times in the past 2 rounds for them, where they do have that man advantage, and
Right here.
UNL Val Crimson outsmalled around back. It's a nice little flank from Halibay, and he grabs 2, and it leaves the lone player of Primo Duo Soap, but he is quickly found out. Waffle is there to claim the last kill of that round, and a nice little flank from Halibay through mid, but ultimately the stack up through mid, well, actually not really a stack up, but the play through mid from UNL Val Crimson just not being the play, as they were caught out way too easily.
Got shut down real quick. A nice flank there from Halibay to pick up theirs, and only 1 member for USU White falls, and that's gonna put them on the board 1-2 now. But rifles in the hands of UNL Crimson. That was their bonus, which means now we're gonna get the first real gun round of the game. And again, Cody, the early pickup. However, we're gonna see the counter ult come out. 2 ults being used, in fact, actually, to try and make all of this space over onto A site. Lockdown comes out to clear the site, and the null command suppresses everyone. Make sure that that goes off. No one in range though, which means it's gonna be a 4v5 free kick. All 4 of members for UNL Val Crimson are gonna be on the site, but Jimbo is gonna be able to find the first one on the waffle. Sam trying to find Jade on the flank, but unfortunately Jade's gonna be able to hit the shot a little bit faster. Ollie's come out as well just to stall this. Now USU White. Blind comes out. Paranoia to try and make space. Cloudburst comes out, but Jimbo doesn't need to see where he's shooting to find Cody. Halibay finds 1. Unfortunately, it's just Shadow. Finds the last 2. Killjoy not needed for that one. Shadow's got him all by himself. And now 1-3 for UNL Crimson.
They want to go to split badly, but like I do want to give my hats off again to not again, but like this time to Jade on that round, using that lockdown to clear out. You've seen that so many times before. I've said it with KJ at the beginning of this map, that this is a staple map for her, and that is one of the main reasons why. Not only is she very good at slowing down the attack with her nano swarms and using her turrets for like intel, but those lockdowns can clear out a whole site in like the snap of a finger, and she did it there, and it allowed for the push to come in for Val Crimson. They got them easy to plant off, and taking sight on this map is very, very hard to do, but retaking it is just as hard. Here comes the lineup though for Cody Rue. He could be shot through the smoke. He could have gotten himself a kill, but he just didn't. There goes one for him. Could he get another? No, he can't. It is Bajimbo to react faster, and there goes a nice trade. For the A side is theirs for the taking, and now the spike is planted.
Spike down now, and Only finds 1, but res available here for UN Crimson if they want to try and risk using that. Paranoia available as well. Waffle with the classic, able to find 1. A nice shot there from Soup. Finds Waffle. Trade. Looking for more. He's gonna find Sam, and now it's just gonna be down to 1. Flash comes out for Nebraska, and is gonna be able to mow down the last member of USU White to put UNL Crimson up 4-1.
UNL Crimson, I feel like they were listening to me when we were heading into this map. Just cleaning, again, like I said, all they need to really do is clean up their attack. Their defenses are not that bad. We saw how good their defenses were, how much potential they had on their defenses on threes. They just unfortunately in that last round they just kind of choked it, and what could have been an easy round for them turns into a turnaround round for USU White. But in these last few attacking rounds on a defender-sided map, they found a lot more attacking rounds on this map than they did on Breeze, and that's amazing to see. Waffle does have that lockdown ability where he can force these defenders off of these sides, maybe force a rotate from the side of VAL Crimson. It's a rush though from Nebraska. It gets punished by Waffle. That lockdown ability is going to be used, and again, like I said, to force that rotate from VAL Crimson, now the rotate has to come in from USU White because they expected this rotate to happen, so it should be happening onto this B site like they expected. Now it is up to UNL VAL Crimson to see. Well, it's not up to them, but I want to see how they react to this defense. But the repositioning again from USC White is just so good. Cody Rue with that operator, like we've seen so many times, is able to get an easy pick onto his, not doppelganger, but onto Jade. Halibay is there as well.
One enemy remaining.
So again, that lockdown doing a lot of work in forcing this rotate as USC White expected, and they're capitalizing off of it. They're capitalizing off of it so well. Cody Rue, double piece for him at the end of the day, but all of that on the back of the lockdown ability used from Waffle.
Yeah, the lockdown comes out, everyone rotates over to B, and the rotates from USU White a little bit faster, get there a little bit sooner, and they're ready for the hit onto B. Cody Rue, let's give this man an op and they'll go crazy. Said it earlier in the series, Icebox, he was so good with it. Breeze popped off as well, and such a scary force with it now on the third map, and
oh my god,
another one looking to bring home this victory to send USU White to finals on the back of this operator.
So he's just, again, he's forcing a lot of these long range gunfights with these operators, and he's able to like capitalize off of these shots. I don't know, because he has the operator in hand versus Vandals, and operators from long range tend to be a lot better. They're a lot more accurate than the Vandal, despite despite you having to cock up gun back after each shot. Mohalimi, I can't believe where he was. He was in trees. My fault. I thought he was in hell for some odd reason, but he was in trees. He's able to get another pick, and for UNL VAL Crimson, they're not able to find some successes on these attacks in the last two, or well, the last round at least, but they are going to force a rotate, and this should be expected from USU White. There is a player on the B site to watch out for that rotation, and there will have to be some utility extended from this defense. The Molly coming out from the KO onto this mid area to slow down the rotate if it eventually does come, and they make their way towards lane. Shadow is probably going to find him. Yes, he does. There goes Sam to die. Holiday able to find Jay's position out. And for Shadow, he does get that spike down. It's a 4v2-man advantage for USU White. Cody Rue with that operator, such a scary sight to see, and they're just going to get the hell out of his way. But Halliday on lane along with two of his other teammates. This retake is going to come, and it's going to come fast against Crimson. There goes a kill for him. Primador Soap is in a 1v3 situation, but it's Cody Rue again with the operator. We talked about it so many times, and he grabs the last kill in this round, and it is another round, this time the third round for USU White.
Yeah, USU White, that time the rotates were a little bit too slow. UNL Crimson able to get over to B site. It was just Sam holding it down, and unfortunately not able to pick up that much off of his life. Was an eco round though, so UNL Crimson able to full buy, have some big ultimates available still. Another null command, and they still have, if they want to, the res and the orbital strike. They want to use those, but USU White have some big ults of their own as well, and they're very scared of Rue holding that operator up in mid, and are going to decide to use that smoke. Try and make sure that they're not able to get that, but oh, looking the wrong way at the wrong time. Nebraska able to find that, and now Shadow is going to be able to turn off all of Killdrew's utility. They know she's somewhere down here. They'll try to find her. And they do, trying to find one, but it's only the KO, which means that KO is going to be revived up. So 5 versus 2 now, and they might just opt to save operator in the hand still for Cody Rue. Calabash Oh, finds one, almost a whiff there, but in the end, Nebraska not looking
Last
towards them,
player standing.
and it's Jade. Stops Halibut from going any more.
Any more crazy, because that would have been actually wild had he gotten any more kills from that position. But Cody Rue, now in a 1v4 situation, it's looking a bit scary for him. As I saw that. Well, anyways, Cody Rue, there we go, and there goes the Jimbo on top of Heaven, able to make that rotation towards those stairs and catch Cody Rue as he was trying to escape with his life. That removes the operator from his hands as well. So, I mean, for USU White, they do have enough to pull by anyways in this round. That would have been interesting had USU White been at a disadvantage in terms of their economy. Removing the operator would have been a lot bigger. But unfortunately, again, after the 2 rounds that they did win, they're in a good spot economically. Both of these teams are actually, especially with the amount of rounds that VAL Crimson do have on the board. And 5-3 is the scoreline with VAL Crimson in the lead, as we see the B site push is going to be happening with that recon dart being destroyed. They know that there is some players there. The clone for Yoru comes out, and if it gets shot out by any of these USU White players, they will get stunned. Paranoias come out from Olemian, recon or the Owlbot drone is going to grab some intel, but Sam able to get a double peek onto Primodoro and Bujimbo. There goes Nebraska with the trade onto Halibut, and he finds himself into mid. But actually, they're looking the wrong way. Molini actually capitalizes off of that as well. Nebraska looking the wrong way. They weren't even looking at each other, but Molini reacts quicker. The spike is down on the site. The nano swarms are going to be going towards those CT stairs. Jade is just not even looking at him at all. Shadow getting caught out by Cody Rue, and it's a 4th round this time for USU White. Both of these teams going back and forth on Ascent.
Back and forth, all of these rounds. No team able to string together more than 2. Means that it's 4-5 right now. Cody Rue, operator, still doing well. A nice 2K there from Sam. Uses the null command, make sure no one gets abilities to mess around anymore. And is able to make sure that the round goes over towards USU White's side, especially with the big ultimate invested there from It's Just Jade. No more lockdown anymore. USU White still has 3 ultimates available and very close to a 4th on Waffle. 4-man over here towards A main, but
Cover going out.
it's kind of a slower hit this time. It's just Jade kind of lurking over towards B. But the flash comes out. The mollies are here. Killjoy's here to try and stall. Is able to find one. Presence detected. And a nice shot there from Cody. Shadow's going to be able to find Waffle. See Nebraska able to get the classic kill into Moahimi. Has a Guardian, has a flash. Is going to try and make some space. There's the Killjoy behind them. And a nice shot from Cody makes that flank go nowhere. 2 versus 2 in the end. Nebraska. Oh, was going to find the fake.
Last player standing.
Nice.
And it's USU White got a kill on this retake as it does happen. It's Sam grabbing a double, his aggression paying off as he finds the last 2 VAL Crimson players, and it's a 5th round. USU White tying it up. But, I mean, again, back and forth between both of these teams. It's hard for it, even with UNL VAL Crimson in the lead for most of it, it's hard to separate either one of these teams and say which one has been definitively better than the other on Ascent.
Absolutely. And CU Nebraska almost had the play. He had the clone out. Cody fell for it. But the Cloudburst come through. Not able to land the shots, and unfortunately Shadow or Sam looking towards Nebraska at the right time. Wrong place for him, and they drop. But Dimensional Drift comes out to try and make space, try and find information. 2 detected here from Sam means that they know that there's a couple. Now Sam's in a decent position right now. They get the fake clone, they shoot it out. Flashes come out and a nice shot there, a nice flash. And look at that, already out of there, teleport to safety. No trade can possibly come through.
That removes so much movement from the USU White roster, as that player was actually set up in mid for maybe a rotate through mid into market. But at the moment, it does free up this B site apart from Waffle, who's holding his ground inside a boathouse. It's 2 kills for USU White, a 2-piece. For Waffle, or as he ends off that round for USU White, USU White
before the switch.
finding their first lead inside of this game, and it comes at such a good time as well as we edge closer to the half, this being the last round before we make the big switch. But for you, look at Val Crimson's guns. They 2 Bulldogs, 3 other rifles, or 2 Phantoms and a Vandal, versus 2 Vandals, 2 Phantoms, and an Operator on the hands of Cody Rue. And look how many ultimates USU White have. The Blade Storm, the Teleport from Ohalimi, Waffle with the Lockdown, Holobeth with the Hunter's Fury. The Hunter's Fury can slow down this push, or even claim a kill onto a main if they figure out how many people are pushing here. But at the moment, none of these ultimates are going to be pulled out, despite this being the last round.
So far, no ultimates used. Only one being that Blade Storm from USU White. Halberd needs to be very careful here.
What?
In a spot where he could get traded out, but unfortunately, no kill comes out for either side. Jimbo finds Sam somewhere else, but you would think that Silva should die in that position, especially with such a risky drone. But Cody, nice shot on the Jade Moalimi, finds Jumbo, which means no revive comes out for the rest of this half. Shadow finds Moalimi, no from the shadows as well, is able to get the upgrade. 2. Oh, almost got 2 there with that shot. Cody finds the Operator. And all down to Nebraska. Has the spike. Needs to go big here. 1 versus 3. 2 ultimates available for USU White. Very powerful ultimates as well. But full utility available. And there's going to be the lockdown, but that's on the wrong side. Means that ultimate not available. And Nebraska tagged up once by the Hunter's Fury, not able to get the second one. Cody Rue, Blade Storm, just needs 1 right click to end the half. Teleport comes out, means he's out of danger. Blinded. Oh, finds 1, but not able to find 2. Waffle shuts that down, and USU White, a little bit of a rough start, but in the end, take the half 7-5.
Man, that was almost. I know Nebraska didn't get the clutch off, but I've complimented his Yoru play so many times, especially he gets a kill or he'll get like a shot off. He'll rotate right behind somebody or in a better position, and he's able to pull off a kill elsewhere. He's also been very effective in getting those flashes off. I think back to a round where he isolated the Omen playing deep into mid. He flashed him. He's able to get that swing on that kill, and then he's able to. My God, sorry. He's able to teleport on out of there as well, and he's able to help his team in that round. I actually don't think they won that round, but like still, he's been really good with these teleports. Not only on the attack, but I've seen him a couple of times on the defenses on other maps as well, on Bind and I think he was Icebox as well, where he made those type of rotations work. And let's see if he can do it on the defense on Ascent as well, as the push is coming into a main from USU White.
Smoke's down.
Yeah, the 5-man stack over towards A. They spot out Jimbo with that recon dart, but smokes and slows are just delaying just a little bit. Jimbo spotted out along with Primordial Soap from the KO. Means that they know that there's at least 2 there, and the rotates are coming, but you know, Crimson are suspecting the rotate as well, and are sending another man over towards B. Killjoy, full setup on B as well. It's gonna be very scary if USU White walks into this.
Let's see though, USU White made the rotation here, but again, no picks between neither one of these teams, and this usually favors the defense. If you don't find a man advantage early on of the first pick favoring your own team, especially when you're on the attack, at least it allows the defenders to have an easier time picking you off, especially when, again, like I said, they have the even man count. There goes Nebraska grabbing the first pick as this push is kind of falling apart, but USU White managed to find a way back in. 2 kills in their favor, but 2 kills right back from Crimson, and we end up in a 2v2 situation. Spike is going to go down. Mohalimi gets eliminated from Bajimbo. The spike is still stuck
Player
out
standing.
by Halibay. He does find one, but he can't find the swing on the other in lane, and it is Bajimbo to find a last kill into that round, and Val Crimson fighting their way back into the B site. A good retake, that being a close round though.
Good retake. UNL Crimson. A nice play there. Good setup there from its Jade, able to stall. And a nice shot there from Jimbo to end out the round. Means that, Crimson don't fall too far behind. And should even things up if they don't lose this the save round here from USU White. And USU White, 5 members over towards A again, but with Jimbo here able to wall and slow to stop any sort of aggression.
You see Vajimbo setting himself up in that corner in A, but the first kill goes in favor of Nebraska, getting aggressive in that mid and it's paying off. Ice wall comes up at the perfect time, but a section of that ice wall gets eliminated. Vajimbo tries to rotate, but he can't successfully do it. It's 2 kills for Nebraska on that Bulldog, but he gets traded out by Cody Rue. Shadow now forcing the 1v3 situation, and I think, is that the Ares? That's the Ares. He does throw the Nano Swarm out. It does a little bit of damage to Cody Rue, and he is able to find that trade, that Nano Swarm, or sorry, not the Nano Swarm, but the Fragment. Yes, sorry, I don't know why I said Nano Swarm. They both look similar to me when they're both activated for some odd reason, but the Fragment going out near generators where Cody Rue was stationed at, and it forced him out of his position, exposing him just enough for Shadow to be able to claim that kill. And now we see both of these teams deadlocked 7-7.
Thank you.
7-7, all evened up, but Val Crimson on the eco now and starting things off strong. Molimi finds the first frag onto Nebraska. Gets taken low, no way to heal that HP up for USU White. Means that they're just stuck at 49 for the rest of the round, unless they unfortunately fall. But the Sage in such a good spot, they have no idea that they're there. Nothing spots them out, no turret. The drone misses them as well. And they're good for 1, trying to find more. They get the heal off. This turret won't shoot them, and they're just breaking it. Unfortunately, Waffle is gonna find 1, make that 2. It's Jade finds 1. It's gonna be a 1 versus 1. USU White 23 HP.
Spike planted.
He still gets that plant down as well. 1v1 Waffle. Oh my god, I know he has such a bad, he had an HP disadvantage as well, and just Jade with that rifle in hand is able to get that swing with that rifle in hand. And it's a round. It's an 8th round for Val Crimson, and in that situation, just a clutch from Jade, in like putting himself in a position where USU White weren't exactly expecting him, getting, I want to say, a lurk or a flank off in trees, and again USU White not expecting it. He gets the first kill on a person who was originally planting, and again Waffle was already at such a HP advantage before he even got into a gunfight with Jade, that when he eventually was going to get into that gunfight with Jade, especially with the rifle that Jade had, he was going to die either way. But it's a round for Val Crimson, and again off of the back of a good 1v2 clutch from Jade, just capitalizing off of the unsuspecting nature of USU White. But at the moment, 8-7, this game is very, very close. Both of these teams going back and forth, not only in terms of like round count, but also in the kill feed. These rounds have been extremely close. Ascent has probably been our closest map so far. Oh, Shadow! 2 kills for himself by those CT stairs. It goes Jade to find another with the turret. What the hell is that? He does find a kill there. This Privadoro is able to find another, and it leaves USU White, damn, in a 1v5 advantage, and he can't find not even a kill. It is a flawless round for Val Crimson.
Yeah, and USU White also investing the lockdown to try and win that round. CEO Nebraska early flank though with the ultimate means that they can get behind it, they can destroy it, and make sure that everyone on B side is safe. Sam doesn't have to worry about getting locked down, suppressed, detained, or anything like that. And a nice play from Sam, able to clutch up and hold B site down by themselves. Cody Rue gonna pop the Blade Storm this round, this time. A nice flash and a nice early kill. Halibut. Cody Rue going for the updraft, looking for something, but no one's there.
Cody Rue pulls out the Blade Storm, but is not able to find anybody on the updraft. He did have a nice little long angle. Waffle is there in mid to grab the rotation from Jade. As I think they were trying to make their way through mid, and again, Waffle with a nice little long angle all the way back towards that A main area, or closest to the A main area. With Jimbo having a clue that somebody's like right next to him, and that is Waffle. Again, lurking near that main area, catching off any rotations that he might find, not only through mid, but exactly where Jimbo is playing in trees. And you see the push coming in from USU White from garage. Waffle's going to pull off of that, and in the nick of time, just as timing would be, Jimbo has an opportunity to swing. But again, like I said, the B push is going to happen. There goes the fragment from the KO on the side of UNL. Val, it does do a little bit of damage. Waffle with a nice little flank from mid is able to grab two of his own, but he gets shut down by Jimbo. But it's already too late for that. It's a 1v4 situation. They know exactly where he's at. He does get a resurrection on the board. It is a 4v2 now, as we see the Jimbo trying to win some shots. Oh no, CT stairs. Cody Rue bringing some shots back. The flashbangs come out. Does he know that there's a player right in mid? No, he doesn't. He gets caught out from it, and there goes Halibut to get that kill. Now we see Jimbo in the 1v4 as he originally was. His teammate not grabbing a kill as he was, not grabbing a single kill as he was resurrected. It wasn't a wasted resurrection by any means, but Jimbo was just going to camp here though in CT, but not going to find any rotations, as all the USU White players are not going to rotate even near the CT area. They're going to rotate opposite of it. And it's an 8-9 scoreline. Very, very close between both teams. Val Crimson originally having a 2-round lead that being cut down to now a 1-round lead. As again, like I said, we haven't been able to differentiate between both of these teams because they have both been equally as strong. But Val Crimson have found themselves in more leads than USU White have. So, I mean, if you want to make a prediction based off of that, then go ahead. But again, like I said, both teams have been equally strong this year.
Both teams playing very well this map, much closer than the other two other three. Breeze being the most one-sided of all of them, but the first and second map going 7-13 for both sides means that this is the first time that a losing team will get a minimum of 8 rounds this time. And Jimbo holding out. Smokes come down as well, but Jimbo scanned up by that dart means that they know at least one person's there. Fragment to try and stall. I think the rotations are going to come out. They've baited all of USU White over. And now the rotates are coming out. USU White going to go quiet just a little bit.
Yeah, USU White, you see the rotates coming in from them. 2 players are going to lurk, or not even lurk, but make their way into mid, right in front of that market stall, and 2 players are going to force their way into garage. First pick goes into USU White's favor. Waffle finding the Sage, but just Jay is going to make his, actually not make his, I don't know why I said it this way, but he is going to find his positioning be found out from the USU White players as a double push is there. Not finding one on that double swing. There goes 2 for USU White. Cody Ruboy and Waffle grabbing the kill, each both in unison of one another. Troubadour Soap does grab the flank though from Waffle. He was originally in a 1v5 situation, now 1v4, but Stimmy comes out and he doesn't have any heals in his back pocket. He is on very low HP, so Cody can get a shot on him here, and there you go. The last kill going into the Jets' favor, and we see a 9-9 scoreline again. Both of these teams being deadlocked at the half, and nobody grabbing a definitive lead. Not a definitive lead as of yet, but not only that, but not even grabbing more than 2 rounds in terms of like a lead. Like neither one of these teams have had a lead that's been more than 2 rounds so far.
You're very close, and now UNL Crimson forced to save. You see a Bucky in the hand of Jimbo, a Guardian in the hands of Shadow, and not really a lot to work with this time. I mean, USU White poised to take double digits after this round, unless USU White can upset this round and fight back.
Jimbo's still in like this little corner. He's been in these corners. It's either been in the left corner from A main or the right corner from A main towards those cement stacks, where he will literally sit there. He'll wait for a cue, and then just like that, he'll set the wall up just like now. His position is known, but with that wall being up, it does slow down that push, and they can't push him directly. But look at this, USU White light up the kill feed. 2 kills going their way with Waffle and Sam grabbing a kill each. Jade, though, grabbing the trade onto Sam. The kill, the lockdown from the KJ is going to be crucial here in forcing these players off of site. And look at that, the switch is flipped on that door in the A trees. Not only that, but these defenders have to retake their own site, and it's going to be very difficult, especially with the post plants positionings being established from USU White. You have a player in Hell, you have a player in Generators, and you have 2 players playing in A main, and you have to clear all of those positioning out to even get near the spike, let alone get a safe defusal on it. And look at this Hunter's Fury from Halibay. Absolutely perfect. And he grabs Jade with it. Oh, but Primadora Soap on Heaven grabs Bohalimi, who got a position from Hell and tried to get a little bit greedy there, and he was punished for it. But Jimbo finds himself onto the spike. Primadora Soap offering the overview, and it's Primadora Soap with the second on the Marshall. He's absolutely dominating in these gunfights, but it's Halibay with the 1v2 clutch, HP advantage and gun advantage in his favor. But unfortunately for him, he does lose that Vadal that he had, but it is USU White with the lead this time around.
Yeah, USU White pick up the round. It was very, very close, especially for an eco round for UNL Crimson. We saw both lockdowns drop that round. Unfortunately, it's just Jade's was destroyed by Halibay with that Hunter's Fury. Still though, Primordial Soap has his own ultimate available if they want to use it. Very, very powerful, can stall very well, and can even pick up kills in certain situations. But we'll have to see how they decide to use it.
I was gonna say, no, that wasn't the ultimate, my fault. That was the suppression ability coming in for Sam to suppress the abilities of the Brimstone on Val Crimson. The Jumbo getting a couple of hit points onto that KO, but not even Sam, sorry, Mohalimi is able to grab, Mohalimi, my fault, is able to grab the first pick into this round. Primadora Soap is able to grab the second, evening out the man count between both of these teams by 4v4 as we head into the meat of this round, the 50-second mark, as the attackers have to make a push somewhere. They're confused as to where they want to go, but ooh, the ultimate being used from the Omen as he teleports directly into the A site, but to the dismay of USU White, as Jimbo in trees is able to get a 2-piece over there. He has a clue that Mohimi is in sight, but he gets double pushed by both him and Halibay. They do have control of this A site as of now. Shadow getting that intel with that 0-point ability as the spike is planted. Halibay is on low HP. He's on red HP, so at this point he is at a disadvantage when it comes to these gunfights, despite him having the same gun as these UNL Val players. So you see the retake happening from not only Heaven, but also 2 players camping out in trees. They're gonna have to be very, very aggressive, and they're gonna have to do it soon. Here goes one for Shadow. Can he find a second? No, he can't. Halibay with such low HP is able to make it work almost, as he almost could have found the third. It is Jade shaking his head no as he clutched out the 1v1. That shouldn't have been as close as it was, but Jade makes it work. It's 10-10. I can't stress how close this game is. Both of these teams not really having a lot of ultimates. USU White not having any ultimates at all. And for Val Crimson, they only have 1 ultimate available, and that is the Brimstone Orbital Strike.
Yep. Orbital strike though hasn't been used this whole game yet, so
Yeah.
we'll have to see how Primordial Slip decides to use it. Very impactful ultimate. Could have killed Haleba if used properly that round. Might have been able to save a little bit of stress for the team, but in the end they do get the round anyway. We'll have to see what kind of use they want to make. Early wall again. Sam decides to break that. Now. It rotates early actually from Crimson. They send the Brimstone over to A. But Shadow still over towards B. Backing up Jade. Have to see, but USU White opting to rotate back over mid. Nebraska in a good position. Might be able to find Cody, but is actually spotted out. It gets the teleport out as well. 21 HP, they spot him, but Cody's a little bit better with the aim. And he'll be able to get healed up. And a nice molly from Waffle, able to find one.
That was so unfortunate for Cody. He saw him and he wallbanged him too, but oh my god, the headshot came in for Nebraska and he was able to claim that kill. The Jimbo, Shadow getting a kill each. The Jimbo with the double, a flawless for UNL Val Crimson, edging themselves towards that 12th round, but I feel like this is going to go into overtime.
Yeah, this round, this map might be going into overtime. It's so close, back and forth every round. Val Crimson, if they can win this round, they force USU White onto an eco. But I think USU White knows that, so they're gonna opt to make sure that they, even if they lose this round, have money for the last. Cody has the Blade Storm in hand. Gonna try and go big here.
Updrift is used as well, so he'll only have one updrift for the rest of this round. But ultimately, he was just trying to get an angle towards anybody who's maybe being too aggressive by trees. He is going to do another updrift from Garage, and that's going to be the last one that he gets to use into this round. But ultimately, look at how much utility is being extended onto this B site. Cody makes his way into lane, but 2-3 kills go out for UNL Val Crimson as they want to get onto this 12th round badly. And I mean, they have the minute advantage. So 5v2, and two of the last players for USU White are on red HP. 42 HP for Waffle, and I think 24 HP for Sam, as they are stuck inside of Garage, and they're gonna get pinched eventually if UNL Val Crimson play this properly. They have a player over by mid, do UNL Val Crimson. I believe that is the Sage, who could pull off a flank here, but they don't want to give off easy picks quite yet. They know how deadly these last two players can be in these sort of situations. There goes Shadow, forcing the peek from Sam, and there you go. Waffle getting chopped down to 24 HP from her doppelganger's turret. And there goes the flash. He flashes himself. Shadow is going to have to move on out of there, as he almost could have gotten himself killed. He is still going to be aggressive. Waffle.
10 seconds left.
But this round is already over. 10 seconds left on the clock, and he's just, I'm thinking he wants to just save his gun for now. But it is Spectre. I believe they will have enough to full by next round anyways, so it wouldn't really matter if they Spectre. But he is going to get aggressive, try and find a kill maybe, but nobody on Val Crimson are giving it away. But I mean, look, like you said, they wanted to maybe find enough to full buy in this round. That Waffle did keep the Spectre, so actually they didn't have enough to full buy in this round anyways. He keeps that Spectre, but we do see USU White on full rifles. Four fulls apart from Waffle, but for Val Crimson, they've been able to full buy for the last few rounds or so because they've been winning so many rounds in a row, and their economy is in such a good spot right now.
They're in a great spot. Only ultimate available for USU White this round, right now at least, is the Hunter Sphere. They're one away from the lockdown. They're going to try and feed it over to the Killjoy. But the big thing is, if UNL Crimson wants to, they can use their own orbital laser to turn off the Killjoy ultimate. Jimbo's got to get it out of there. The firing squad breaking that wall very quickly. The Slorb does slow a little bit, but they're going to go ahead and fake this. The rotate's being called to go back over towards B. limit. Spots 1. Knows that there's someone still A main. But these rotates are here. Killjoy still over on this B site. If they go for the hit. And there's going to be the Killjoy ultimate. Brimstone ulti still not used yet.
30 seconds left.
carrier is killed.
A nice kill by Shadow on the Hebeth. Another one onto Waffle, but Sam gets the trade finally. One player detained on the back of site. Killjoy probably going to get spotted out here. Gun comes up, but not in the time. CEO finds it. 13 seconds left. Spike's still
10
not down
seconds
yet.
left.
Cody needs to go if he wants to try and save this round, but Jimbo's on the flank. Zooming to find him. 5 seconds, 4. There's no time. He's got to be able to get the kills. Finds 1, 2 seconds just to find this last kill. But they're hiding, and
Defenders
UNL
win.
Crimson is going to be able to find the map.
Just in the net, just wasting enough, not really wasting enough time getting the picks that they wanted, forcing the 1v1, and then Nebraska hiding out and just not being too over aggressive, and he played that perfectly well. 13-10 is the scoreline. Valorant Crimson taking map number 4 as we head into map number 5, which is split. I do want to know if we're going to get a 5-minute break. If not, then we might hit break or could okay, no, we're going to get a break. So again, just stick around. It's a very good matchup so far. Ascent was an insane map. It could have gone the full distance into overtime, but we will head into split. So for the next 5 minutes, don't go. Leave your Twitch open and you will be alerted to when we are back. Hello, guys. Welcome back to, well, what is the last map for both of these teams, no matter who goes through and who doesn't. It is map 5. We have gone the full distance. Both teams grabbing two maps. Yeah, two maps as they do even after series. Sorry, I choked there. I'm 1v, joined by my co-caster K9. I mean, again, Ascent was the closest map that we've had so far in this series. What do you think about us going into split?
Last map Ascent was really close. UNL Crimson back and forth the whole time, but UNL Crimson able to just barely win out the map 13 to 10. So they've got a little bit of that momentum going into the last map, but we'll have to see. This is split, so very, very defensive sided map.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe UNL is a little bit more of a defensive sided team overall, considering how they've been playing their compositions. But we're loading in Nebraska. Not going to be running that Yoru that they're so famous for so far. Instead, opting to hover currently the Neon. So we'll have to see. But Jimbo and Jade back on their respective Sentinels, and it might be the double controller play over here for UNL Crimson. Unless Nebraska wants to go for the Neon. I think they're still deciding, but USU White composition's pretty rounded and confirmed by now. Halabeth on that Sage, Malimi on the
Oh.
Sky, Waffle on the Rays, and Sam on that Cypher. Cody going to be locking it in on one of the controllers. So this time, Cody not going to be on that Jet, on that operator, that duelist that they've been so good on so far. So we'll have to see how things are going to shape up.
I'm surprised by what Crimson are giving us right now in terms of their comp. No duelist, no Jet, no Rays, nothing. There's no duelist at all on this team apart from no duelist at all apart on this team. They got a double sentinel, they got a double controller, and they have an initiator pick. Whereas for USU White, they do have that Rays pick, and for Rays, she's not really that popular on a lot of maps. As a duelist, you would prefer to use maybe a Jet or even a Reyna over her because your duelist is supposed to get a lot of kills and all that stuff. And Raze doesn't really fit into that category of duelist because she has so much utility to use. She has the paint shells, the boom bot, but two of her better maps, in my honest opinion, at least two of the best maps, her staple maps, are either bind or split for me. So it makes sense as to why USU White you pick her on this map. But I'm very intrigued to see how UNL Val Crimson operate without a duelist comp. The neon pick was most definitely I think we want to call it a tech from one of these teams, but for UNL Val Crimson, again the neon pick was very exciting to see, and we've seen Nebraska be very very good on Yoru. I'm just curious as to how they'll make this no duelist comp work on the split at least.
Yeah, no duelist composition, which means not a lot of space. You're going to be having to play
Mm-hmm.
that KO as your one duelist in this map. But you've got a lot of smokes to work with, Brimstone and Omen. And when you get onto the defense side, you've got a lot of stall tools. You have KOs, flashes, suppresses. You've got both Killjoy and Sage to slow
Mm-hmm.
down any sort of push USU White can try and do. And a lot of smokes means it's going to be really hard for USU White to try and entry onto site.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're gonna have to depend on the KO for a lot of these entering and a lot of these aggressive plays to make space. Not only with his not really with his guns necessarily, but more or less his utility. Those fragment mines can be used to make space. The flashes can be used to make space. Depending on how you use both of those utilities. And he's good at supporting your duelist and clearing space, but he's not really that good at doing it by himself, which is I'm kind of like I said, I'm not really alarmed, I'm not really shocked or anything like that. I'm actually pretty shocked and a little bit surprised, but I'm kind of curious to see how this no duelist comp will work for UNL Crimson, because again you usually run a raise, or if you're not running a raise you're running a Jet on this map. I've seen people run a double duelist on this map, even with like a Jet and Arena. So again, it's very curious as to why they don't want to run a duelist in this comp at all.
Yeah, no duelist, but we'll have to see. Unfortunately, we've got a little bit of a tech pause. One of the players, the mice, are having a little bit of problems, so we're gonna have to jump out of this real quick. But I'm very interested to see how the compositions go, especially for UNL. No duelist on the attacking side is going to be very interesting to see how they play. It can be tough, but if they can survive long enough to get over to the defensive side, it can be very, very potent and very tough for USU White to get through.
Yeah, also for USU White, they are running the Rays again. Split and Bind are kind of her better maps. I've seen a lot of people run her on a Fracture as well. She's very good on Fracture from what I've seen as well. If you can get her utility to work a certain way on there, especially her paint shells being probably the most popular part of her utility, along with the Boombot and also the Showstopper. If you end up getting that ultimate to work out for you. So I'm not really alarmed by USU's pick with the Rays. The Cypher pick is very interesting. Cypher is more of a defensive op because of those cameras and also those tripwires. They can be used on both the attack and defense, but mainly those cameras and the tripwires are for the defense, just to slow down the attackers. Also, the smokes as well. His smokes not really being that great, but he does have smokes nonetheless. And you see exactly what I mean when I'm talking about how he's more of a defender-sided op. He's going to set up his tripwires right in front of that garage entrance that heads straight into the B site. The first kill though goes into Sam's favor. Shadow going down. A kill could go into Halabay's favor. There goes one. There goes actually two for Nebraska. As I think he just teleported straight into the site. He gets another onto Heaven, cutting off the rotation from these USU White players. And UNL, they have control of this B site. There goes a kill, a fight back from USU White as Mohalimi gets a kill onto Nebraska. 2v2 situation as the spike has gone down.
2v2, but they've got the Killjoy utility here. It's going to be a little bit tough for them to try and go out on a nice frenzy spray down by Jimbo. Finds that. It's all down to Cody here on this Brimstone. Has a little bit of utility, but Jimbo with the frenzy. A little bit of a quicker shot means that the first round does go over to UNL Crimson on this duelistless comp.
I mean, Nebraska. Let's talk Nebraska's like ability usage there with the teleporting in the middle of the B site. I think right behind one of the USU White players. If I'm wrong, then correct me. But if it wasn't behind a USU White player, regardless, he teleported straight into site. USU White clearly weren't expecting it, and he got like 2-3 freebies for himself with the classic in hand. And now look at this push coming in from UNL. The paranoia straight into this heaven position. A kill for Nebraska. A trade with the paint shell. Waffle though is traded back out as UNL keep finding this man advantage in their favor.
Yeah, and now it's just Cypher stuck on B site, hiding in a corner, trying to find one. Is able to find Soup though with the classic. Is looking for more. Does die, but Malimi gets that trade 2 versus 2. Malimi and Cody. Malimi very low. The Molly gonna try and stall the plant out just a little bit longer. They're gonna try and find any sort of guns that they can pick up. Jimbo not able to find the spray down onto Cody as Shadow finds Malimi. And it's all down to Cody, but Shadow knows where he is and flash up.
Oh, right.
Play, but Cody gets the right click and Shadow. The flash doesn't land this time, and a thrifty back over to USU White. That's not what UNL Crimson want to be happening, especially with their composition.
That was a bit odd as well to see, especially with that flash not working with the way for the way that Shadow wanted it to. I think Cody looked away. I saw him kind of like flick away at the last second, so the flash just didn't affect him. There's some odd reasoning, but it didn't, and he was able to flick right back at the moment that Shadow was repelling right up. And unfortunately, it is a round that UNL shouldn't have lost, but they did anyways. And it was off of the back of a thrifty, which hurts the most. But again, the focus for this push is going to be through mid like it was through last round. But instead of the B site being the main point of focus for UNL, it's going to be this A site. Actually, no, they're going to rotate the spike through mid from, not ropes, my fault. But the first kill actually goes into USU's White favor. Waffle getting that kill with the paint shells, and it's the Sage to fall out for UNL as USU grab the early man advantage for themselves.
Yeah, and this Raze so far has done so well with their utility usage. 2 paint grenade kills so far. So definitely a problematic. These tight angles are so good for Raze's utility. Waffle able to find another one. Meanwhile,
Last player standing.
Jade goes for a little push, able to find one, but not able to find anything else. Sam has an inkling that Nebraska's over here. Heard the teleport, but I don't know where he is. The cam actually doesn't see.
30 seconds.
Now it spots him out. Now his position's revealed. They know exactly where he is. Kind of running around hoping to find something. Not able to find the classic shots this time. Cody Rue Boy is able to find that one, and Nebraska shut down 2-1 for USU White on this final map.
Like you said, Waffle doing a lot of work. He's only 3-3. It's not the most impressive scoreline, but it is only 3 rounds. But we've seen him do a lot of work with these paint shells very early on. That's, I think, the second time in a row where we've seen him, or actually no, it's not the second time in a row, but yeah, second time in a row that we've seen him get a kill with the paint shells. That was the first time that we've seen him get a opening kill with the paint shell in that last round. And again, with how many tight corners exist on Split, despite this being like such a big map and so defender sided, Raze's utility works so well here. That's why she works really well. This is why maps like Split and like Bind are such good stable maps for her. Again, Waffle grabbing the first kill alongside Mohelimi as they find the early man advantage into this round. You see USU White forcing the rotate from UNL to happen through mid as Sage is just going to hang back near this A main area, trying to find any rotations maybe happening towards her, but the rotations is going to happen from Waffle and from ropes through mid if they figure out that two of these UNL players are actually there. There goes the turret to give away the position of Waffle as they know that there's a player here, but do they know that there's 2? The flashbang goes out as well. The splash 1. They have to know that there's another player there. Now they know, but Waffle's able to get 2 from Vince. And now it leaves Jimbo in the 1v4 situation. Stuck by a main, like I said before. He was just there to watch any rotations from USU White, but he gets shut down by Cody Rue in that 1vx situation, and it's USU White to find a 3-1 lead on their defense.
USU White playing very well right now. Waffle, nice 3K there. Has the showstopper available at round 4, and Cody has his own orbital laser available. Meanwhile, Shadow and Nebraska having their ultimates available means that both sides have a little bit of power to work with, but UNL Crimson forced to save once again. See sheriffs and pistols on most of the members here. Means that they're not really hoping to win this round, just trying to do a little bit of damage is what they can hope for. Maybe a spike plant.
Nice wall being set up from the USU White Sage from Halibay, I'm sorry. And it's there to just slow down his push from going through mid, but KJ on the side of Crimson Jade is through garage. That smoke being so well placed to see the feet before the person can even see them through the smoke. And there you go, the Jade does get some damage to him. Halibay is there, but he can't find himself a kill. Mohele, I don't know, gets a kill somewhere else where Waffle and Cody Rue grabbing a kill each, and as the smoke clears between both of these teams, trade going back and forth. We see USU White with a 3v2 advantage, just Jade, though in this 3v2 is going to be left the worse for wear. Her Sage is gone, and so she can't be healed anymore, and she's on flashing red HP, 30 HP to be exact, rotating with her teammate as Spike has actually been surrendered towards a main where these USU White players have the vision on it. They've already pinged it. You see it on your screen. They're continuously pinging it, and they know that that is the main focus on this attack from UNL, and it's Mohelimi to grab the last 2 picks into this round.
A nice 2K there at the end by Mohelimi to clutch up the round for USU White. A big ultimate to Waffle did pop the showstopper, so that is not available now, but another ultimate is available in its place. Sim and Halebe very, very close to their own ultimates available. Meanwhile, UNL Val, that was their eco round, and now they have 7 ults to play with. Should have a round essentially secured if they can play their ultimates right. But we'll have to see. Early Bird come out, grab some information that they know at least one person is over towards A. And the smokes as well to try and make some space.
You should run.
And there's going to be the lockdown as well. No way to break that unless they want to use their orbital laser, which they are. So that's going to be the ultimate down, and trying to find something. Backs off. Cody finds the trade, but Nebraska's good for 1. Cody good for another one. Waffle shuts down Shadow in their ultimate form. Pressed still, but Sam finds just Jade. KO's getting shot while they're down. Not much long on this world, and it's just Jimbo by themselves in another 1 versus 4 situation. Behind the wall, finds one. As Raze was going a little bit crazy, but Cody finds Jimbo, gets a 3K for himself, and now USU White in dominant control once again, as opposed to the last map. Not back and forth anymore. They lost the pistol, but have gotten a 5 round streak in a row.
Yeah, it's been, you know what, we touched on this a little bit, not even really a little bit. We've said before, we've stated this, that Split is a defender-sided map, and so you're seeing it kind of work out really, really well for USU White. But also in terms of their comp, again, they have that Raze, they have that Duelist that's able to make space on the defense. And Val Crimson don't have that. They have to depend on this KO to do so with those flashes. And look, I mean, the push is going to happen here from Garage, but again, it's going to be a 5-man push. And these 5-man pushes for Val Crimson haven't worked out for the most part. The Stim is going to come out to give them increased speed and rapid fire rate. Rapid fire rate. There it is. There goes the word. There goes the kill for Halibay as he's stuck in the corner. The telly comes out from Nebraska, but he gets caught out by Sam through his own smoke as well. Halibay getting a little bit more aggressive, but the rotate is going to come in for Val Crimson. There is going to be a player hanging out by Garage just to make sure, just to watch out for that aggressive play, but Halibay still gets the double. Collateral for him as well. Shadow getting caught out through mid. Waffle grabbing the last kill into that round. 6-1 is the scoreline in USU White. Despite this being a defender-sided map, I don't think it should be this one-sided.
USU White just one-sided controlling this map right now. UNU Val Crimson are feeling the effects of not having that duelist, not having that person to jump in and make space. And because of it, they're just not able to get on the site. Every round has been an elimination win. No spike plants available for UNL Crimson because they don't have anyone getting on and making that space that they really need to happen.
Unfortunately, again, they're having to depend on this KO to do it, and KO's just not the operator to do that. You need a duelist alongside KO in order for him to be effective in helping clear space alongside that duelist. He can't just do it by himself. Halibay is there to grab his doppelganger, and it's an early man advantage for USU White for the most part. Again, this duelist comp is not only hurting UNL Val Crimson, but it's absolutely destroying them because USU White are just walking all over them on these defenses. There goes the mollies from this KO of Shadow, but another kill this time from Mohelini. And a little bit overzealous though from Halibay. He gets one. There goes Shadow with another. And it's an even man count despite USU White having such an overwhelming man advantage. Look at Nebraska. He's already in sight, but alongside Sam, who grabs one and he grabs a second. Such good anchorage play from the Cypher, and that's what I mean by when I say Cypher is so good on a defense. He has the utility to hold on to sight by himself if he so pleases. Not only with the tripwires, but those camera Mohilini from behind does use the guiding light, but it doesn't hit Primadoro. Oh my god, he hit the timing on that. Cody Rue does save his teammate though from certain death, and it is a 7th round in a row from USU White.
USU White just one-sided again. A nice play by Shadow, picks up 2, but unfortunately that's all they are able to pick up in the round, and not a lot of money to work with. Once again, they're forced on the sheriffs and pistols, whatever kind of half buy they can scramble up this time. Meanwhile, USU White, plenty of money in the pockets of everyone. No need to worry about for probably the rest of this half buys. So UNL Crimson needs at least, I would say, 3 rounds if they want a chance at coming back on the attack, on the defense side this time. But again, they're just running into these stacks. Mohimo, good for 2. And already shut down. Jimbo, stuck in this corner. Probably going to get spotted out by this Boombot as well, which means that it's a free kill. Unless the shot goes a little bit wide, but Cody's there for the trade to kill, and it's just Jade is mid. They broke the wall. They know. They have an inkling, and Sam's here holding it.
That 8th round in a row. It's a bit rough to watch for UNL Crimson fans. You know, either one of these teams have fans out there anywhere. I'm pretty sure they do. If you're watching this channel and you're watching 2 of these teams play, if you are a supporter of them, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, this is kind of tough to watch for UNL Crimson because according to the last map, I didn't expect the map to be this one-sided. But again, like I said, this no duelist comp is just really fighting them right now because they don't really have any type of, oh god, okay, that was really weird. I wouldn't really say that's really weird. That's kind of like an average play for a stage that gets shut down very quickly. There goes the Boombot, there goes the aggression from Primadoro. He does find that kill, does Waffle. Waffle is paranoid at the moment, but he does find himself being pushed back. Another smoke goes his way. He finds himself spraying through smoke, but he gets sprayed right back and he gets decimated by Jade. There goes the resurrection, followed by another kill, this time from Nebraska, and they have complete control of this B site. Forces the rotation from USU White, but they do have cameras. They do have that intel, but not the man advantage. No kills inside of this round, apart from that one kill that happened, but there goes one actually. I was going to say that one kill, but that happened to the resurrection. But Cody Rue is there to make this round maybe a little bit possible. But even then, it's very unlikely with the way that UNL have dominated on this site. They do find this man advantage, now making it a 3v1. It was a 4v1. Sam finding a 2-piece, making that a 1v2, but he's quickly traded out by Jade. Finally, we see Val Crimson get their 2nd round, but it is still a mountain to climb for them as it's 6-round difference. It was a 7-round difference, now 6-round difference, as USU White, again, like I said before, have just been walking all over UNL Val Crimson. I mean, look at how many ultimates they have, and look at how many ultimates they have, and the ultimates that they actually do have versus UNL Val Crimsons. I mean, the null command is good. It's very good, actually. So, I mean, they could do some damage with that, as well as the orbital strike and the lockdown ability from Jade.
Yep, very powerful ultimates on both sides. We'll have to see how they use them. Jimbo pops the resurrection last round, and Waffle and Halibut falls to Nebraska. So another early opening pick for them is going to open up space. Meanwhile, here comes the showstoppers, able to find one. That's one. Sam finds another. There goes Nebraska. That's a big member down, and Waffle's getting healed up as well, topped off. Jimbo has that wall available if they want to use it. Meanwhile, Jade tries to find Cody, but Cody's good for it.
Enemy remaining.
And they're running right back into the crosshairs of Cody, who's good for 3.
Last round in the half.
Yeah. 9th round. for USU White. What USU White as what was in a 6 round is now a 6 round difference, as now a 7 round difference yet again, as USU White want to get, they want to get as much of an advantage as possible on their defense, because Split is a defender-sided map before they go and head on to their attacks, which is not that far away. They have to like I think they'd have to get like an 11-2 split in order for us to go to the next to the round switch or whatever. But they have such a good advantage on their defense. They could carry that momentum onto their attack, but oh, look at this positioning though, from the sky all the way into the beast inside the A side. The first kill does go into UNL Val Crimson favor, but Helena again from that position that I was talking about grabs too. So does Cody, and USU White again have this man advantage that we've seen so many times from them, an overwhelming man advantage. And not only that, the neural depth ability from Sam reveals the last location of Jade. The orbital strike is wasted on Jade, as he does find himself a kill on that rotate onto Waffle. And it's a Vandal in the hand of Jade, but again, he has to find 4 other bodies, 4 full health bodies of USU White, as he again makes that rotate from the rafters of B into the rafters of the A site, and there goes Sam to catch him out on that rotation as well. And it is a 10th round for USU White, as I was actually incorrect. That was the last round before the switch, and we're heading right into the switch as we see USU White on the attack and UNL on the defense.
2 rounds, USU White able to get 10. Very, very good defensive half. UNL mountain to climb if they want to get this game back into their hands. They do have the defensive-sided composition, so if they can do what their comp wants to do, go big here, it's definitely possible. But 3 members over towards B and 5 of USU White all over towards the A side means that we might see a retake, and that's definitely not what USU White comp wants to do. And they even dodge out of that early KO knife, meaning UNL Crimson have no idea that this could be coming.
Yeah, see though, you said they're like, I agree with you on this as well. You said that their comp does favor more on the defense because they have like 2 sentinels, they have the 2 controllers, they have those smokes, they have the ice wall, and then those swarms from the KJ. But let's see, the momentum could carry on from the defense onto the attack for USU White, but Primadoro Soap does find the first pick on to the Cypher, but the spike is already planting. And like for the most part of this game, or for this map at least, UNL Val Crimson have to play catch up. They have to play the retake. They have to find an angle onto the site. The ice wall is just gonna make it so difficult in order to find a retake onto the site. Mohalini finding one onto Shadow, when Jimbo does get a trade 3v2 situation for USU White. UNL find themselves the man advantage here, the man lead. Jade makes it a 4v2. Can it be a 4v1? No, 3v1 actually. Nebraska make it 2 for him. And he does find that last kill onto Waffle, and they do get the easy spike defusal, that retake happening, and a good round for UNL Val Crimson to claim. Not really in terms of economy, they will get to buy some SMGs and stuff like that, but that was mainly for their own sake, for their own mental, for their own momentum, because again, it's been round after round after round from USU White and no end to it.
Yeah, mentals of UNL Val really need to start trying to reset, start getting some rounds, start feeling good about the game again. We'll have to see. They do get the pistol though. They did get the first one. They need to make sure that they don't drop the second one like they did in the first half. Very important round for them. Jimbo has the wall. He's going to use it. And this 3-man stack over towards the A side. Jimbo spots out Sam. They have to be careful. The rotates are coming in. A nice fragment over there is able to find Waffle as well. The Molly as well. Sam, sliver of HP to work with. Cody not able to find any sort of right click means that the rotation is going to come back. They're going to get healed up by the sky. And they're going to head over back to A, knowing that they know at least 3 people are over towards the A site. But Shadow's gonna be over here in time to catch this rotation.
See, USU White again, like you said, are rotating through A. There goes some bit of utility and also this guiding light to flash out that Heaven's position. It does make that hit, so that player is flashed. There's a player
30
by
seconds
screens
left.
as well as on Heaven, but the first kill goes into Bunjimbo's way. And we see USU White with the main disadvantage of 5v3 for VALORANT Crimson. There goes a spray from Nebraska as he finds one with the LMG, the Ares. There goes Halibay to find a trade not to make this a flawless. There goes a double. Almost a flawless for the defenders, but not one for them as they do find that fourth round. And again, I mean, a good round again to claim, not really for econ or anything of that sort, but just again for their mentals. And maybe we will, maybe, you know, this is maybe, it was maybe, it is not maybe, but it was just probably that the fact that Split is more of a defender-sided map and that it's not down to UNL Val Crimson having like really bad attacks. It's just Split, right? But we're seeing them mount some sort of comeback. I mean, they still have quite a mountain to climb, but it's getting closer for them.
Definitely starting to get closer, but we'll have to see. This is a big round. If UNL Crimson can pick this up, that means the bonus goes over towards them. Their economy is in a great position, and they don't drop down to 11-4. But Cody finds the first one. A nice trade there from Shadow, though, but Sam finds the trade right back through the smoke, through a wall, into a nice crisp headshot. Waffle and Soup very close to each other, though. The nade as well. Doesn't tag up Soup. Waffle's got to have an inkling that people are around. And unfortunately, it goes the way of Soup, but Sam is again there for the trade. Jade's trying to flank the flanker, though. And is going to be able to find it. That's a big kill to pick up. Last two members are on site. It's down to CEO and Jade. Nebraska trying to go big here. Has an Ares. Jumps down. Goes for the spray. Able to find one. They don't know where the last one is. They know they're somewhere around here. They spot them out.
Player standing.
Find one. Looking for number two, but not able to find it. And there's plenty of time for Jade. The comeback for UNL Crimson is starting. Don't call it a comeback.
They'll call it a comeback, or else we'll cast a curse them. But for USU White, I talked about the comeback happening for like Val Crimson and how it's very important for their mentals. For USU White, if they want to take this game very quickly, they're going to have to. Find the same momentum they had on their defenses. From what I'm seeing from both of these teams, it's just very not really, like, I would say poor attacks. And both of these teams, well, for UNL Crimson, it wasn't really poor attacks. It was mainly poor attacks. And USU White just absolutely decimating them. But for USU White, it's the same thing. This time they're getting more plants down than UNL Crimson were allowed to get on their attacking rounds. But the retakes, their post plants, are not being executed well, and that's why we're seeing the success come in for Val Crimson. That probably should have been 11-5, or 11-4 or 11-3 by now. But Val Crimson are just making these retakes work again, time and time again, off of the backs of some like really good individual plays from mainly Nebraska, and also from Benjimbo as well, who was really good on ascent. As the push comes in from mid, the Molly is gonna come out from the side of Val Crimson. Benjimbo grabs the first pick onto Sam. That's the Cypher gone. That Rude smokes. Another kill onto Cody. Rude this time Halibay grabbing the trade, but just Jade restores that 3-man advantage that they have. Nebraska makes it a 4-man advantage for their side, and Nebraska makes it a none for USU White as they claim I would say a 6. I think this is 4 rounds in a row for UNL Crimson. And USU White, like I said, just have to find a way to stop the momentum, whether that be taking a time out and figuring out where next they want to route this attack at, because it's just the attacks that they're doing are not working at the moment.
Yeah, their attacks just aren't working at the moment, and UNL Crimson on this attack play or on this defensive side, playing very well, and now rifle is in the hands of both parties except for Cio, who still has that Ares. And USU White is opting for a default this time, trying to play slow. Camera doesn't actually see Jade over in the corner. And a nice early pickup there from Awful to start things out in the favor of USU White.
That's what USU White have been missing for the past few rounds. The first pick going in their way, the first pick on, at least from the round switch, have been going in the UNL Val Crimson's favor. There goes another one for Halibays. They find a route into this B site. The Nano Storms coming out from the KJ on the side of Val Crimson. 2 kills, a fight back from UNL Crimson. It's Nebraska going unnoticed. I think as he TPs, I believe he TP'd on Heaven, but he grabs that kill onto the sky nonetheless. And USU White, that it had such a good man advantage so early on, a 5v3, and they allowed the route back in from Val Crimson, and it's a 3v2, though the KJ on Val Crimson is on low HP. Again, it is a 3v2 in their advantage, that man advantage being probably the most powerful thing inside of these FPS games.
Yeah, but they do have res available if they can kill Soup here. It would be huge. They're able to find him, but unfortunately Sage goes down, which means there's no res available. It's just Jade here.
10 seconds left.
10 seconds. Sam actually able to find that. Now it's a 1 versus 1 Nebraska.
Spike planted.
All down. He's done it before. Looking to go big here. As the area sprays through the box. Doesn't spot anything though. And I really like this play here from Sin, wrapping Heaven. It's planted in a very good position there, but Nebraska might have an idea that they're over there. Well, goes for the tap.
Oh no.
Oh, spots him. Not able to land the shots though just yet. Clock is ticking, 6 shots left. Runs out of ammo, but it doesn't matter. Bomb is going to go off no matter what. They're both in the blast radius as well. And they're both gonna fall. A nice clutch there from Sam to be able to take USU White up to 11.
Whoa, played from Sin there to clutch out the 1v3. Despite not getting the last kill, he was able to find the first 2 picks. The first 2 picks in his favor, isolating those 1v1s. Usually that's how 1v3s are clutch, 1vx's are clutch, is by isolating the 1v1 gunfights and then forcing the last man to have to push you or to have to make a play. And in that situation, that's exactly what happened. Sam not really forcing that last gunfight, but instead just wasting so much of Nebraska's time that not only does he not get the kill, but he's not able to get onto the spike as well.
You're not able to get to the site this time, and now UNL Crimson on the back foot, not able to have full rifles in their hands. We see shotguns, Ares on a couple members. Nebraska tagged up by the Cypher, but other than that, both swarm grenades used, and the dog actually doesn't spot Jimbo. A big ulti here, trying to spot something. It goes a little bit wide though. So unfortunately the Rosa ult, Nebraska finds the trade, gets one. Jimbo with that Bucky, he's gotten crazy with it before. He's gotten how many Bucky kills this game? I don't even know. Too many to say. Sam finds Jade, Nebraska on 1 as well, and now it's all down. The Halabath finds 1, but still, very, very tough odds. 3 versus 1.
30 seconds left.
No utility. They know that they're stuck in the corner. Able to get this bomb. They might go for a res here. Fortunately, res is actually not going to be an option, and there's the ultimate as well. Finds that, and Molly thrown as well, making sure that there's nowhere for them to run, and UNL Crimson find their 7th on the board.
And ever since the switch happened for UNL, they've edged themselves closer and closer to USU White, and you have to wonder if USU are gonna crumble under pressure or find a way to push past it, push past the pressure that UNL are putting onto them. But I mean, look at the amount of ultimates they have. It's going to be a full buy from both teams. Nebraska's still going to stay onto the Aries to be able to spray through walls and boxes and stuff like that. 4 ultimates, like I said, being ready for USU White to say saving her resurrection from last round. She wanted to use it, but then got suppressed just as she put it away. And also the orbital strike being ready for the brimstone on the side of USU White. I think Shadow got stuck there. He's shaking his head. No, I think I don't. Or actually, no. He's just trying to bait. He's trying to draw any shots out away from any of these A main players or any of these USU White players pushing in through A main. And like I said, in terms of like ultimates and stuff like that, USU White do have the advantage here. This is where I would expect them to use their ultimates. But the 0 point does grab some crucial information, knowing that 4 players are going to push through A main. The first kill goes into UNL Crimson's favor. Jade grabbing that kill, as again they grab the early man advantage, they grab that early pick, and this, for the most part, when USU White have switched to the attack, they've been struggling to find the first pick, and they've let it go into Crimson's favor. They do fight back, Mohelimi being killed, but he's traded right back for Jimbo finding him, and now the spike is planted. Halibay in an unpredictable position, getting a tight angle through their own ice wall. Couple kills going into either team's favor. Nebraska grabbing one, Shadow making it a 1v3. The last 2 kills going to Sam's favor, a 1v3, but he can't find the third, and almost from Sam. Getting just unpredictableness again from Sam, who's been really good at that, but can't make it count on the third kill, as again Jade is there and they can get the spike defusal off.
Yet almost Sam, almost with another clutch, a 1 versus 3. Not able to bring it home this time though. But 4 ultimates available for USU White.
Can someone get
Some big ones, and a couple of ultimates used there by UNL Crimson to make sure that they get the round. They use the resurrection to make sure that they have an extra man on the field for that round, and now USU White forced onto a save round. So this big gap, this big mountain that UNL Crimson was forced to climb has become more and more likely.
Yeah. It shouldn't really be happening for USU White, but again, like we said, Split is a defender-sided map. Statistically, it is probably one of the more defender-sided maps inside of Valorant, and it's showing here both of these teams not having the most impressive showings on their attack, but they're making it count on their defense. On their defenses, UNL looking night and day compared to what we saw on their attacks, looking like a completely different team. Seeing them be able to clutch the absolute impossible, but we also saw some moment of brightness from USU White on their attacks as well, but again, not bright enough to the point where they're pulling out wins. They're still in a good lead, 11-8, but that lead is getting smaller and smaller. But oh my god, look at this. They caught UNL Crimson lacking. Shadow not being alerted to the positioning of these attackers on the A site. The spike is going to go down. The ice wall is up as well, but it's not usually up. It's not up in that usual elbow area. Instead, it's in the middle of the A site. Nebraska able to get the teleport off, get a kill. Halibay is there to get that kill onto Shadow. Jimba grabbing another. Sam with the Sheriff. Prima Doral is on the defusal. They have to do this now. The orbital strike coming out, but it's not. Oh, let's get the kill in time. He didn't defuse the spike. Oh, it's another kill for Cody. That orbital strike was absolutely magnificent, and it'll be the main reason they win this round if he's able to clutch it out, and it's still 1v3 clutch from Cody Rue. Oh no, actually got the spike off. Sorry.
The spike unfortunately is defused at the last second. Cody Rue had the molly, didn't expect him to hold it. Expected them to pop off, but
oh no.
Halibay holds the spike down so that they're able to get it, and the Spectre doesn't do enough damage fast enough, neither does the molly, and USU White are kept off of that match and series point. UNL Val Crimson are making this lead closer and closer to being even, and an early suppression tags 3 alerts UNL Val Crimson of a lot of USU presence.
That's crazy. I had the Pikachu surprised meme face when I saw that UNL claimed that ninth round. There goes the Jimbo surprising Sam in mid, able to get that swing off and also heal himself in the process. Forces this rotation from USU White onto this A site. It worked out last time. They caught UNL slacking, but this round, can it work? They have Shadow up above Hell, trying to get, or not above Hell, but in Hell, actually, trying to grab some sort of angle towards this A main push. There goes the Trailblazer, grab some intel, but they don't know about Shadow's positioning. There goes the turnaround from Cody Rue, but Shadow does find that kill again on the stage, but they do have site control. The smoke supporting, the smoke supporting this plant. I'm not sure what that smoke was, but it was a smoke nonetheless, I believe from the Omen of Nebraska as they get the spike down.
3 versus 4 here. Nebraska, Paranoia available. Finds attack on a few, but the trades are coming out. Cody is good for 3 now. It's all down to Cody. He needs to go big, but unfortunately Jimbo's on the flank, and another round to Crimson. They're 1 off from tying it up with USU White and 2 away from taking it to match and series point. We'll have to see. USU White need to find some sort of answer to this defense, some sort of way to break it. They've gotten the spike plant a lot of these rounds, but they just can't keep them off of the defuse for these retakes.
Maybe repositioning somewhere else or finding better post plant positionings would help, because I find them getting caught out a little bit too much. Maybe it's them, or maybe it could be just them being a bit too aggressive on their post plant situations, or not handling the aggression well from UNL Crimson. Because when UNL Crimson get into these gunfight with USU Whites on these retakes, USU White get absolutely decimated in them. And even when it's like really, really close, it's not close enough. And USU White need to find some sort of pattern or some sort of momentum to make these attacks work. I said it so many times, maybe taking a timeout would be the best option here if UNL claimed this 11th round. There goes the Nano Swarm being set up by the KJ on from Jade, just to slow him down. They will activate him at the perfect time when the call does come out. There goes activated. The second one probably be activated as well. Shadow going to get, he actually does blind someone, but Sam is there on the turnaround. So there you go. They get the first blood into this round. Can they find a second? Yes, they can. Waffle is there to grab Jade. There goes another for them. This time again for Waffle. The Rays finding themselves a second, making that space for their team. Spike going down, and it is a 5v2 man advantage for the side of USU White. Now, this could be them, actually, this most definitely could be them grabbing this match and map in serious points, as again, it's just been night and day between these two teams. We've seen them do really good on their defenses, but on their attacks, it's just been very underwhelming. The showstopper coming out, that's a good read from Waffle, and he claims the last kill, or the second to last kill into this round. Sam is in an unpredictable corner, but it's not even him to grab that kill. It's Mohamimi to close the round out for USU White as they put themselves on a map and serious point.
Yeah, and now UNL Val Crimson need to get these last 2 rounds if they want to take this into overtime, but the economy just isn't there. They're running 3 Spectres, a Judge, and an Ares. That's the most they could muster up for this round, which means USU White are in the favored position right now, and they have 2 ultimates to work with to make sure that they get this. If it's a time for USU White to win, it's here and now. They're gonna break this wall mid. Jimbo almost runs out into the line of fire from 2 members, but gets out in the nick of time with a sliver of damage in his life. USU White playing kind of slow right now. They find Jimbo through the smoke. Cody finds the opening pick that they need.
You said USU White playing very, very slow right now, but it's paying dividends because it looks like UNL are being a little bit too impatient. They're peeking things that they shouldn't, and they're getting caught out. Now look at the site control that USU White have. A good ice wall set up from the stage. Jade, no, Shadow actually is going to get picked off, then Jade, and it leaves this, actually, no, it wasn't even a 1v4, it was a 2v5, and Premadural Soap is the second to last to fall, and Nebraska is in the 1v5 situation. There goes a kill as he teleports into mid. Sam is down, but USU White, despite not having that impressive of an attacking half, have found a way to make it work. This looks like it could be the end unless Nebraska has anything to say about it. We've seen him be able to impress, but I don't know if this is too much to ask for the Omen player, the Yoru player, and what could have possibly been the Neon player, but Waffle gets the last kill into this round, and it is the last kill of this whole series as USU White take the series 3-2.
USU White were struggling there for a bit on this attack side, but find a way to break through to the defense of UNL Crimson and find the victory 13-10. It was a very, very close series with the whole distance and very close split, but unfortunately UNL Crimson are going to be knocked out. USU White are going to be going to the finals shortly here soon, so that's going to be wonderful to see.
Yeah, unfortunately for UNL Crimson, the fight back came a little bit too late. I felt like maybe if they had a little bit more on their attacking half, than USU White, they could have most definitely found a way to grab that into overtime. But it's unfortunate that map of split was most definitely a map of who could attack better rather than who could defend better. Both teams defended well. Both teams just didn't have the best of attacks, but it was USU White to have the better of those attacks compared to Crimson. And unfortunately, despite all of that, it is Crimson to be knocked out. But I mean, on the bright side, USU White had a good showing out here. Both teams did, and one of these two teams had to eventually be knocked out and go into the finals. And good luck to USU White. Unfortunate for USL Crimson, but I mean UNL Crimson. But I mean, it was a good cast as well from you and IK9. And if there's anything else you want to say out there to any of the people watching, then yeah.
Other than keep an eye out for finals with USU White, but it's been a good cast from me here and 1B. We'll be signing out here, but that's been all from us here. Thank you for the Observer and my production team, but we're going to be taking it off. Have a good night, everyone.